another reminder, guys, पानी वाली पिलो stay hydrated. Starting is
so it's kind of like a pity play that you've been sent your way. I am curious to see if Pachinki is held solely by Team Falcons this time around.
I like the fact again, actually, we do get sort of the distance there from Team Secret. We do seem to be playing this far slower wick of the game. Let it burn late into the night, you know, don't want that one to burn quickly.
Yeah.
Although I will say the problem was the minute they were actually throwing a bit of a broader sword, it was panic stations. That's where it went wrong.
Well,
right?
there was no parries. No. There was absolutely no parries involved there at all. Even the dodge roll looks sluggish on the side of Team Secret. Heading on towards the Popka as well, and I do have something to say about the Popka is that although decent position, it's all right. You do actually see a lot of pro teams these days like moving away from the Popka as a spot. If you can get somewhere further in towards the circle and comfortably play towards that, you take that. Even though that means holding over towards one of the west or eastern side of Yasnaya, that's fine. But yeah, we'll see how Team plays now. It is a pretty packed map already. But I think the Team Secret, after seeing that, playing in the Pop Cup means you have to push through a lot of teams just to get towards the initial circles, and those initial circles are over towards the southwest side. It cuts a lot of Sosnovka in, which is a bit of an awkward one, where you're not sure if you'd be heading across or not. It would be cool to see a Sosnovka this early into the tournament, though, Jackie.
Yeah, it'd be fun, man. It'd be nice if we actually do get it thrown into the mix. I do love these wide splits. Sorry, just a highlight there. I know, obviously, map feed-wise, just looking at how Weibo are going to be able to rotate on this one. Nowhere near as drastic. Backline of the DRX late. But anyway, we'll focus up with what's happening here. You've initially got the POV of Alpha 7. Alpha 7, for those of you tuning in, of course, I'm sure you're aware, they are currently the crown holders, the kings themselves, who took the trophy last year in a rousing affair. Some incredible plays. Back-to-back games where they were popping off. And really, it was a bit of a nail-biter towards the end of last year. Like, you know, you're thinking sort of them and Reject, like who's going to take it? Which region's going to show up? Coming into this one, I was a bit worried with the result in the first game. Glad to see a massive show-up, even with it just being a duo that had to get so much done. Some diligent PUBG Mobile shown from them in the previous outing. How's the rest of the day going to go, though? Will Neptura's hot take become a reality? A back-to-back chicken dinner for them would instantly be the landslide of, all right, maybe it is going to happen again. Like, that's the sort of hype you want on a day one.
I think for Alpha 7 in particular, they're a team that really, when that momentum starts getting rolling, it's hard to stop them. They're very much like an avalanche in that respect. It's hard to deal with that, and if you're not careful, you are going to get covered and buried underneath the snow. Alpha 7 is going to be bringing down upon you. So I think that for Alpha 7, getting that win there, especially where it mends that relationship between Cleo and a Rebel very early on, that could have been difficult for them. But that makes you feel really good, you know, because instantly, instead of having what would have been a little bit of an annoyance, right? It's a bit frustrating. Now you have a bit more of that brotherly bond once again been stricken there in that map, which is cool. It's very cool to see, and I think that would help them. And I don't think Neptune is far off from the mark. I do think for Alpha 7, this game could easily be a good one.
No, absolutely. Even though she was smirking while she said it, the point does really reign true and could certainly have a lot of credence. And you're right, bro, you know, not cutting the cheese with the chalk. I think absolutely it's one of those where you would have been fuming with each other had you gone down on the back of that nade with
two key players as well.
Right? Instead, you won it, and like you say, it's brotherly love, everyone's having a good time, the boys are back in town. DRX, they were in town for a second there, but one of them has instantly been shut down. You've got the drive in from Falcons that have spotted a weakened target. Solo and isolated. Blessing from that, you do grab another vehicle off the back and get the 1 point.
Yeah, unfortunately, DRX went to town. You know, it's like a boys' night out. You're going to lose one of them eventually.
Where's he gone?
You find him at home later.
So I actually never came out. I was at home the whole time. Sorry, guys. Stayed in the plane.
The DRX down to just 3 players there. They had a good start to the day, but if you look at that, 19 points, that's all the points they earned there on Sandpot.
True.
They earned nothing on that last game, and I think that for Arangel it's a very important map to be able to perform on, so I'd be very unhappy to see them go to Arangels with nothing to show for it. The Falcons, though, we were talking about earlier, you were talking about feeding the hot hand. I like what the Falcons are doing. I do worry a lot of times about the Falcons in terms of their more passive gameplay. I think that there are definitely moments where I think Redox and Narvalo certainly need to take a leaf out of Koa's book and just be a bit more aggressive. And it's funny that one of those passive players on this team, historically at least, Ralph is one of the players who I think has been the most influenced by Koa's gameplay. So yeah, I think that that's what I'd like to see from that team, especially here where they have the ability to experiment a lot. But it's nice to see them having just continued success.
Yeah, it's hard as well because it's a double-edged sword when you have such a really infused fan base like Falcons do, especially when we're here, right? Like we're in Riyadh, we're in Saudi Arabia, and you can see the excitement that's going on there. Everyone's cheering after they get an elim, after they make a play. Yeah. That goes both ways. If suddenly everyone goes quiet, you notice it, and you know it's for you four alone.
Dude, even in PMSL EU over towards Turkey side, right? When they were playing there, they looked stressed on their bad games.
All eyes on you, bro.
They look stressed on their good games. And I think that there is a lot riding on them. There's a lot riding on them here. I think personally, if they can at least get to the top 8 after this group stage, I think they'll feel so much more comfortable. Just going straight through to the finals there and not having to deal with it, that will be the ideal scenario.
I mean, even if you think about just the fact we were saying like, oh, everyone is literally forced to stare at Alpha 7 on a pedestal, on a plinth, literally in the arena. They were called out by name. They were there. Everyone else sees Falcons as well, separated from the rest of the squad. It makes you kind of have that animosity of, we should take them down. We should make sure, you know, that extra oomph on the other teams where some people thrive on that. Like those little elements come into your mental game. It affects how you play PUBG Mobile. Suddenly it starts to change a little bit. You see those targeted fights. It gets spicy. This is more of a story we'll develop over the course of the event. We'll see how that starts to ebb and flow. But it's just something to have in the back of your minds for the viewers at home. Weibo, I think it's been, I'd say, nice, at least in terms of the way they have been playing to their strengths. They've had some really crazy dives, crazy rotations, but they've made it work, so I can't fault it too much. It's obviously just not been the best in terms of converting it into actual placements or eliminations.
I think that there's one region that just will make those kind of plays, and it's something that I always massively adore about that region, especially that play from Sucus while he's just running up the stairs. A lot of teams just won't take the opportunity. They won't make that play. But Weibo and that region in general is one of the few regions like Americas where it's a case of, we need high ground, but it's like a 90-10 scenario where I will get eliminated for doing it. But they will take that risk because they know that if they don't do it, they may as well be throwing away the game anyway. So they'd much rather take those risks early, which I think does put those teams in a much better position. And I think it's a type of squad that could get a very, very high elimination game over the course of this group stage. We'll have to wait and see. AX currently very central. We're heading around Gatka at the moment and just south of Pachinki. It's a bit more flat around this area. There is fielded area 2. You don't really want to be heading down towards Ferry Pier because you're cutting yourself off the sight lines. There's a fair amount of water in this one. We were worried that it was going to go down to Sosnovka. It didn't do that, so a lot of teams can now consider coming back up power. I think it's reasonable they head towards Sosnovka. It was one of the few plays they had in the back pocket on the happenstance we did go down towards that part of the map. They would have had a fantastic position. Now they've got to figure out how to get across.
Yeah, something to potentially keep your right eye on, or your left eye's on this side. We can touch on Horror a little bit as well. I think, again, it's one of those where they had some unfortunate encounters, like No Fear. In terms of the timing and the setup he had, it was really good cooking with the nades. You could see, like, he had his understanding down to a T, mechanics were nice. He was just hit from the side, where it was a really sick off angle for DRX back in game 1. Again, I think that's a team that potentially, if they're not sort of showing up too much, maybe you start to underestimate them, they'll find a way to start to climb because there's a ton of talent there. They do just need the opportunity to display it. We've seen a few bits from Squash, but it's interesting, obviously, we've not really had as much opportunity to keep our eyes on him. I'm curious to see how he's going to build over the course of the event because I feel like, again, man, it's a lot you're thrown into here, you know, like the live environment for him, you're coming in, all the pressure on as you've got the trophy, your team won it. You've got to live up to that again this time. Showing us the moves at the minute. Vision, it's rough. It was a good start, game 1. Here, instantly isolated. You find the scout, take him down. That's E-Arena that grabbed that. With Joker showing up consistently. He's been the big dog, I'd say, so far for E-Arena.
It looks like he's enjoying himself as well. I think for Vision, there's been a lot of times where, if I'm quite honest with you, the awareness hasn't been great.
That's fair.
Hasn't been great in terms of where they're playing. I mean, we even saw that from, I believe it was E-Arena again on the last Erangel, where they were on a split over towards the top side. They were able to just move in there and immediately isolate them. So I think for Vision, that is something that needs to definitely be improved, which is just the overall awareness around the map in terms of that scouting, because teams will be taking opportunities absolutely anywhere they can find them. These are the best teams in the world coming to the PMWC, the PUBG Mobile World Cup. Right? This is not an easy stage. It is not an easy stage to play it.
Quick shout out to the production team, by the way. Loving these transitions. They've been nice. They've been really nice. It's good setup when we do get our circles coming in. Pat on the back. You guys are killing it. Everyone is. It's been a good day so far. And of course, this is the halfway point. It's why it really starts to matter. We get a feel for how things are looking, the lay of the land as we develop into the later portion of today's games with the zone on the move.
I think that's Toshpik actually going down there for Regnum Caillou. He's a bit split off from the rest of the team, and they were making that move out down towards the south side, and I think he just gets caught on the back of that rotate. They'll still have 3 players to work with there for Regnum Caillou, which is not terrible. It's not always the best position in the world, but this is one of those spots where you take it early on the circumstance that we do get this fielded area, and this becomes actually one of the stronger positions because it is so open ground around it. That's risky playing in this corner, but he needs to get back across. I think he's worried about the sight line. Yeah, very, very worried about it. But there is so much area around here. Is that an arrow been sent his way?
It might be.
Just locking him on the door.
This is kind of naughty. I mean, you've just got them pinned, effectively. Like, obviously, smoke wall up, try and play behind, stay tucked in, but you don't have an opportunity to aggress on it. Like, the timing on the face from the angle they've got with the high ground, you should have the shot every time.
Yeah.
Attention is somewhat split, though.
I want to know if that was Sook, because there's been a lot of talk about him actually carrying the explosive bow and arrow around a lot, just to lock players down in position. But we'll wait and see. We'll wait and see. That was pretty terrifying there for Regnum Caillou, but they can play that spot. They can certainly play that position, and it might pay dividends in the future. We'll wait and see if that investment was worth their time. Bravo 7, though, probably wouldn't be getting away from this position on that southwest side. AXR in front of them. They'll have to bash through there. Currently, Power is struggling on this bridge. The amount of times I've seen Falak on this girder, on top of the bridge, is a lot.
It gives him so much vision as well. Ooh, okay. Nearly. Window of opportunity, obviously very slim. You've got to chicane on the push up. Trying to keep the help from the back line. Takes a bit of time before he gets the first shot back over, but the first knock is the most important. Quick reposition, got to try and get himself out of dodge. Takes the damage from the drop and the bullet from the side, so into a knock on the bridge, off the angle. Teammates now with more pressure on them. Split there, obviously incredibly awkward for Power with the distribution of squads they've got around them. It's DRX they've got on the other side as well.
I'm just not sure what Power was thinking on this one, if I'm perfectly honest with them, where playing on this edge, it's so tough. Yeah, they're getting eliminations here and there, but slowly but surely they are going down. Again, they could have played in from where Team Secret's on, where the circle was, where it encompassed Very Peer. You know there's going to be teams playing over towards Primors. There's going to be teams heading over towards Yellows. This is a situation where there's going to be many, many teams looking to lock you out over towards Lighthouse coming across that bridge. It's just an unreasonable decision, in my opinion, where they could have played it slow on the eastern side of the map. The only other thing I can think of, and I mentioned it earlier, is just that they were hoping, gambling for a Sosnovka finish. They would have been the first there, but I don't know, man. I don't know.
Yeah, the odds certainly not in their favour if that was the gambit they were going for this time around. He was unlucky as well with the timing. Nearly got the pop-off on the hill to keep himself alive, but Ferdinand going down because of it. And then Al Hadji, you know, you are a sitting duck, effectively. That's the real sort of top and bottom of it. He's just trapped in the coastline. Play Zone being the additional squad that will take him down from the back. So again, Power Gaming, I think that's free for free on first squad's fall, other than obviously actually easy. Yeah, he survived as a solo, got those 2 points in the first game, but it's been rough. You're losing at least 3 players in the opening sort of, 2 to 3 minutes of each game now, minimum.
It's rough. It's really rough, and there needs to be a big change towards the end of the day. Looking at 4 Thrives, though, they're doing really well. Second place at the moment. I was asked recently who my top 3 players were, and in that top 3 I mentioned Valak because he is one of the more exciting off-angle specialists, and you saw him there even on the bridge. That's another thing I love about the player, is that when he's in that solo position where he's playing off the back of his teammates, trying to set up situations, he's so safe, so cautious with it. He was never going for the full-on spray. He was happy to let his teammates find those knocks, find those eliminations, and he just had to be the enabler, essentially. So he's a very, very cerebral player. And if you're watching PUBG Mobile, you never heard of him, I'd keep your eye on him during this entire tournament.
100%, man. You know, nerves of steel and really handy with the steel with Harry was taking those fights. This has been Vision trying to get a bit more aggro as well with a dive over towards the hut side, isolate one player there as they get the info onto him. Quick pick up on the crate as well. Grab what he's got on him to restock themselves. Yeah, bro.
He looked lost inside that shack, like he had no business being in there, and the arena was just getting evicted. Oof. Yangdong.
I mean, they're getting secreted on right now. There's the dive over the back. Secret again, it feels like they do better when fights are on their terms. When it's suddenly thrown towards them, that's when a bit of the panic kicks in. It was a little bit awkward. They are being at least able to find some recovery from it. The zone is awful for them though, right? Consistently thrusted further forward. They have to just sprint through this, try and take it headstrong. They do win out on the fight, but with the double knock, it's going to still take some time to recover from it. Meanwhile, Weibo again. They always show up when you least expect it, and nades are raining.
Why are they on the eastern side of the map right now? There's an insane rotate from them, which I didn't even catch. They were playing down towards that western side. Suddenly they managed to get themselves all the way up to here. Just wrapped around, and Fireflux do find them. I think they were looking for a holdout as well over towards Fireflux, but losing Suk is not ideal. Matt Cap's been an awesome addition over towards Fireflux as well. Been finding a lot of success for the team. Where Ketch is no longer as potent as he maybe was in the past, Matt Cap has been pretty phenomenal at basically bringing him back up to level. Like, both of them combined make a pretty fearsome duo.
There's been some fierce picks as well that we're seeing from the sideline there from Hora, still being able to keep themselves in a good spot in terms of the eliminations they're finding, where it's not an overcommit. So nice shots, again delivering. Fireflux, it's interesting how much we've actually seen them really being in focal points of fights that have a lot of reverberations for the outcome of the game, but it never feels like it really gives them the oomph they need. They're always on the, the wrong side of the coin.
Yeah, that's the 100. Bruised by the nade.
That wasn't a coin, that was a grenade.
Yeah, it was. That was dirty. Heading through M79, trying to lay down some smoke in the meantime. It's not going to be. Solus does hit the deck though. So does Scarface, and this is looking more and more rough. So very good shots coming through from Regnum Kaya, by the way, from that position they were talking about before. They're currently holding over towards that north side.
Shame for Secret as well. If Team Secret were looking to build and compound off the points they were able to accumulate into Game 2, it's not really going to work out as well for them here. You go down relatively early, third squad to exit stage left. It's in a massive cool-off as well over on the side of Yangon Galacticus, considering how impactful they were with that opening game. But let's dial in here with Alpha 7. Mafioso, clean connection over the top side.
Wow.
AX giving as good as they get, and fair play to them. It's actually been impressive how good they've looked in terms of the amount of pressure that must be on this squad. You've got to deliver. Full commit on this. Push up with the DBS. Oh, it's clean for the first, but the bite back with the moves. Ravo starting to really bring the heat towards them. You've got nades running in from the side as well. Alpha 7 with a lot of targets on them.
Ravo canonically touted as the best shotgun player in the entire world. Hard to deal with him when he's flying through the air, gliding on the back of those wings, the DBS. Only taking shots over towards you. It's 4 thrives, the backstab, and Alpha 7 was stuck between a rock and a hard place there. Noki once again playing anchor down towards that south side. I think honestly 4 thrives have a very, very good position here in the circle. And Balak with 4 elims so far during this game. I do think they have a good chance here. And now taking away first place spot. Nepturo unfortunately mistaken on that call. But this is a big push coming through from Horror. And where is Silas?
Where is he indeed? Horror as well, just getting away with absolute liberties at the minute. They're going for some big commits. They're actually completely flipping it on its head of saying, oh, you're kind of playing this passive game where then you suddenly throw the heat up. The tempo control's really good for them. They're keeping the other squads guessing. It's been great fights. They're starting to find themselves opportunities for eliminations. And again, like you were saying, as much as this is great for 4 thrives, you've already been able to build up some points. Rest of the squads that in the overall rankings for the day, they're all gone. Anyone else that actually accumulated a nice amount have already been taken out. You can see it's the bottom end that is still alive with the overall points here. This could really have some chance to leapfrog you up. So this is a big game for a lot of the squads down towards the bottom side right now.
Absolutely. For AX particularly, they want to jump further up the rankings here. Horror as well. Want to show a lot of these teams what they've got to offer, but 4 thrives could bump themselves massively up in this game, getting a lead of something like 20 points on the 3rd match of the day with Alpha 7 and Yangon Galacticos being down early and Vision's only just breaking into the 20 points now.
Morris still going. I mean, that's Vision being completely removed, blinded by the power of Horror Esports again here. No Fear living up to his name as the rest of the squad's playing with that. Sleepy and Sky back-to-back. 8 eliminations combined between the 2 of them. Some impressive maneuvers. And we've been obviously sort of touting, 4 thrives. They're in a good spot. If AX were able to find an opportunity to get the drop on them here, sort of pick them to pieces from the sidelines with the scout setup they've got, it could be a bit of a change of pace. They've not looked too bad over the course of the day so far, but taking down a team like that would be huge for them. There's been a nice reset for 4 thrives to get back up to all 4 players. That's unfortunate. You're trapped on the edge, nothing you can do. That's the last man going down, so we do wave goodbye to Fire Flux.
They've been stuck out on that eastern side for such a ridiculous amount of time. It was not easy for them, but Weibo, despite showing off some pretty cool moves around the map and having some decent rotates into position, they've just not had the staying power in these matches at all. Not been able to dig those boots in to the ground. Falak will be taken down by Sky, which is, to be honest with you, the speed at which he went down, that was an unbelievable spray coming through from Sky.
Yeah, Sky's looking crisp today, dude. Like, some of the shots he's being able to find are really impressive, but it's the setup from them as well. The way they're actually sort of jiggling and playing off each other's contact, comms look really clean.
Yeah. Absolutely. And Sky has got a massive amount of pressure on him. And we had a nice interview with him at the start of the day where he was saying that I don't really see it as pressure. I just see that fans being just loving us as a team, and I'm going to try and do them as proud as I can. For Sky, he's always been a phenomenal member of multiple different teams. Now, I think he's found a very nice spot here on Horror. Yeah, he is the star figure on that team, but by no means is he not backed up by some of the other players on that squad. I mean, No Fear's been around for a huge amount of time, and Sleepy and Jiggle here really feel like they have melded into the team very, very well. So yeah, Horror is definitely a team to keep your eyes on.
I think maybe that's working for him as well, where it's not, the whole squad sort of playing against each other whilst being a team.
Yeah.
Being set up where there is sort of, no need for the ego. Everyone's happy to just set each other up, and it's working well, dude. Like, they're passing that baton brilliantly.
It's funny as well because Sky is played on like quite a lot of highbrow squads, let's say, where he has not always been the player that everyone looks towards and is like, that's the top player on that squad. So it must be quite nice to be on a team now where he is that star player, but he's still quite a humble dude. So, you know, getting set up, and he's always there looking to capitalize, help his team find that success. And this is an unbelievable position. I talked about earlier where Regnum Karya tried to pick it up early into the game, and it would have had massive success for them should they've been able to hold it versus Horror, but they just came in very, very fast over towards that position. It was super difficult. They're on the outside of the circle now, though, with Nongshim, Red Force. I think that's Binny and Tizzy currently playing in a shack of their own, and likely Horror's going to struggle unless they can start finding picks on the outside of the circle over towards AX or Influence Rage.
Yeah, it's been good shots, but it's the fact that they're not really being fully able to convert off the back of it, with the cycling of those knocks being really just stalemated. Henry here, you get the POV from the man spamming over towards the side. Good split as well for the backside. Sleepy still gets the tag back in. That's an instantaneous shot onto Henry. And they really do just take him out instantly. Good read of the lay of the land as well. So Arian's trapped behind the vehicle. Bullets coming in from the side. 4-5 still trying to keep themselves involved in these encounters and snatch points where they can.
Cyrex tried to edge his way down towards 4-5, but was immediately shut down there. Henry, I think, was on 12 bullets left in the next magazine, so wasn't a lot at all. That's 3 loot crates, by the way, that I can see on the map there. And those could comfortably create some cover, but the speed at which Horror's going to have to set up this flying V is going to have to be very, very quick. Horror sends out, though, and no one's currently taking shots. Binny and Tizzy are currently encapsulated in smoke. One goes down, but it will be Arian to go down next. And Horror efficiently gets themselves over there, but can they get their player back up again?
4-5's have been doing what they've been doing for so long here as well. The minute there's an opportunity set up by someone else, that's when they capitalize from it. So AX open up the fight. You see the weakness there on Horror. They come in for the sideline sweep, get some damage in. Nonshin Red Force as well, finding an opportunity to get one shot in from the back, and that's all they really needed. It's fragmented the squad. They go down from having 4 members looking really clean to just 2 isolated split on them.
I think it's good, though. Honestly, if I'm fully analyzing this, Horror makes a sacrifice and it pays off for them. Yes, they lose 2 players, but given that moment, it gave time for both No Fear and Sky to get further into the circle. Such an important moment for them where it actually could have gone really, really wrong. And that's what you want from teammates. Teammates who are ready to make the ultimate sacrifice for you in-game to allow you to get a little bit further, a little bit more points on board. Beautiful stuff.
That's what I mean, the lack of ego. You see it there. Everyone's playing for the big picture. They're not worried about the stats. They're worried about the placements. They're worried about how it results overall for their tournament run. That's a brilliant way to think about it. You've got the late backstab potentially from Influence Rage. I mean, that's Law, the solo member with Red Force trapped, living on borrowed time inside the hut. Near miss from the nades as well, dashing them towards them. 4-5s have been able to play on the back foot for quite some time, wait for everyone else to come towards them. Now they do have to advance somewhat. Horror, of course, with those 2 players, like we said, still could have influence. The quick trades are made. One shot back over 4-5's taking issues. Shin go down. Farlak with the quick shot back over. That's No Fear out of action. And Law still just belly crawling further forward. I mean, look at the split here. A chance for at least a sneak into that 2nd place.
He had the 1 nade and the 1 Molotov, so could have actually efficiently cleared out 4-5s, but 12 eliminations, now looking for the 10-point. Bobs up just as he gets res there, and that could have been absolutely treacherous for them. And now nade's getting sent over the top, and it's unbelievably placed. Coming through from 4-5, taking them to a 24-point game.
Massive scenes. Brilliant teamwork, never over-egging it as well. So comfortable playing their own game and always following up. If someone else went in for a fight, they were ready to clean up, ready to engage. Good rotates on it, and they're going to be happy with that one, but that is a massive gainer.
It's huge. You were talking about it as well, where you were saying that a lot of our top teams were just out early, and it was really only 4-5 still going there. I think off the back of that game, they're up to 43 points, if I'm not mistaken, which is a really big result saw. And again, a lot of the top teams went out fairly early. I think they're right now looking at around about a 20-point lead at least over a fair few of our squads there. But Horror was another story during that match, looking really, really good. Egoless him. And again, it was not only that, but just really good reads as well. You saw Binny and Tizzy, they both smoked out their compound to stop players from peeking or sending shots in. In that moment, the boys from Horror, they send across because they sense that opportunity. We're going to take this opportunity for a quick break. We'll be back real soon.
Pulsar Legionnaire available now. First outfit with special head animations and voice lines. The Pulsar Legionnaire set comes with its own super cute voice lines that can be toggled on or off.
What happened? Bye, friend. Hello, Earth. I'm here.
It also features the upgradable Hyperion ship DSR and Jet Reaver glider with special animations. Experience parachuting like never before. That's not all. Even more rewards await. Event period, July 25th, 2025 through August 26th, 2025. What are you waiting for? Get the new Guild set now.
We start off our day in the Kadia Players Lounge, where they come for rest, relaxation, and refueling. And we have this gorgeous Kadia photo booth, of which we have a replica of none other than the key itself. I'm going to take this one with me. Across from us, we have a Reaction Royale, where players can test out all of their fantastic reaction speeds. Doc C, by the way, from Nongqing Red Force, is only at 15th place. I don't know about you, but I think he could do a little bit better than that. We also have a lovely viewing station for all of our esports players to enjoy and bask in some lovely, lovely PUBG Mobile. But what would a player's lounge be without a refueling station filled with caffeine, juices, healthy snacks, maybe some of the unhealthy ones too? Speaking of which, I kind of want a snack of my own. Sorry guys, squeezing through. Thank you very much. Iced coffee, my favorite. We then head on over into none other than the Heroes Club, where we end our tour. The Heroes Club is exclusively reserved for EWC victors of the past, last year, but also the ones still to come. Only time will tell which one of our PUBG Mobile teams will have the glorious pleasure of joining us in there.
Oh, Max.
Hi.
Thank you.
Hello,
Sorry,
guys.
I was mimicking there what Alpha 7 did, but you know what? We're gonna talk about that last match because, boy, did Pakistan show up with 4 thrives, being able to just take advantage of APG not being here and getting that win, Max.
Hey man, Pakistani here for the win, really. The best Pakistan has looked in a global. Such a good win here this time around because from the very word go in this match, Alpha Gaming's not playing this match, right? So they're not going to be dropping a military base. They're not going to be contesting the western side. So 4 thrives, this game was pretty much from the start put in easy mode. Even though it was not quite that easy a game, I just like that fight in particular was normally making it a bit hard for them back in CSA. But the control they had with Falak on the beams, able to clear all of power, man, 4 thrives. I was scared them going into global after CSA. How are they going to perform? All of my doubts have been already cleared that they know what they're doing. They have a game plan here coming into PMWC.
Yeah, I mean, from the interview that I was able to do with Falak, that player is just oozing confidence, saying we're not really feeling any type of pressure. Everybody has experience, and that is showcased here in that last match. 24 points, 14 eliminations, being able to back it up there with the win. On top of that, you have Hora Esports, CSA pretty much just taking over Neptura.
They really are. I mean, we love to see it, right?
Yeah, and again, it's very top heavy. All for CSA, look at that, 24,
Hey, yo.
16, 10, and then 7 and 5 and down below. So,
I
whoa,
mean,
wow.
yeah, Influence Rage, kind of the silent partners there, even though they got the double elims. We didn't see too much of them. But yeah, 4 thrives and Hora coming in clutch there. Some really, really strong performances. Hey, I thought Hora were going to win the whole thing. I really did. But we can get onto that later.
No, let's get into it now.
Get into it now? Okay. Hora overextended. If they had pushed over onto that player of AXTMG as they should have, then yeah, I think that would have been really, really good for them. They drive to the player, take out that player, take that player's position, and then they have full control of that northern side. They should have won the game there.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it them overextended. I think they just mispicked the right location to go for that overextension. If you go for the player of AXTMG, as you mentioned, they have already a car. They can crash it into the car of that one player of AXTMG. You have a little bit of a mini fort, and then there's no way Falak is going to be able to just shut you down in the process. So it was a good idea, but I think there was a slight mispick as what position you want to go for, because if they do secure that, you have a solid 2-2 split. You're fully controlling all of the fields. 4 thrives can't really encroach on your terrain anymore. I think it would have been a Nepali win. I know CR7 during the watch party would have loved to get that win here for his team, but maybe later. Okay, it'll happen.
He's going to be happy. You know what? Match ranking, they were second, being able to clutch up a lot of points too. That's what you want to be able to do for some of these teams, because remember, there's going to be one group at the end of day 3 for group stages that's not going to be playing, so you might as well just be able to do as much as you can. Now, I want to rewind a little bit, Max, towards phase 2 of 4 thrives. They were doing that 2-2 split. You were mentioning them. They're taking advantage of APG not being here.
Yeah, really, they're just, we know we're not going to have to fight Alpha Gaming at the start of this match. Let's just go for this very passive 2-2 split. No one's going to really try and contest it early on. If it goes back to military, we regroup south. If it goes north, which ended up happening, we'll send it back up north, have a very easy transition, hold on to Lighthouse, hold on to the gas station, hold on to the warehouse. They almost had too big a split, but because they're so experienced around this kind of terrain, they're just like, we know what we're doing.
I mean, 9 times out of 10 in CSA, what we saw from them was them holding that exact position. So they absolutely know what they're doing when it comes to that. But I actually really liked the split. I can see what you're saying. It was like almost too much, but I think the control they had, the control that they garnered from actually doing that, made sure that they had so much info, they knew exactly how to play the next few phases.
Yeah, I mean, talking about the next plays they did after, I think you want to talk about their third party on Alpha 7 and XTMG, because that was a beautiful play from 4 thrives.
Yeah, it was. I thought it was playing to their strengths. If you're a team, as a team, you want to play to your strengths. Not every team knows how to do that. So for me to see that, to see them go, oh, A7, AXTMG, they're popping off. They're going at each other really heavily. We need to third party that, use that our strength, and then to not overdo it and not go over to AXTMG. Just take A7 and go, okay, we're done. We're going to go back. Really, really well thought out from them.
I mean, one player that absolutely popped off for 4 thrives, and I mentioned it. I'm glad I mentioned it right before. I was like, the best player of Pakistan ever, Falak, popping off with 7 eliminations, 1,000 damage.
Okay.
Okay.
He's cooking. More than that.
Janta Show.
Oh, yeah, that's got big time. We'll have to learn how to say in Pakistani. We might need to need it for Falak in particular.
Yeah.
In the chat, tell us. We'll need a little bit of help, guys. But 7 eliminations, playing early on as the gatekeeper of the bridge, on the beams, trying to eliminate all of power. Luckily enough, he did get rezzed by one of his teammates, so he was able to play until the late game. But he was not giving up any angles. If he saw you, chances are you're living for 5 seconds maximum. Falak is being ruthless here in PMWC, and we're just 3 games in. He's off to a great start.
Absolute eagle eye, right? And the thing is that this is usually what you want to see out of your star player, Neptune, right? You want him to be able to put up stats just like that.
You absolutely do. I think it was a really, really good thing coming in from him. You know, we were talking to him. He was very confident, as you said. That confidence is starting to show. It's not being the overconfident. It's just really confident. And his team is backing him up like a champ. I mean, they have got that synergy down. So it's really, really exciting to see them coming out of here.
Yeah, and you say they're confident, but they're also very respectful of this lobby. You talked about the third party with Alpha 7 and XTMG. They take Alpha 7, eliminate them. XTMG, that's maybe a bit too much. You know what? We're just going to take it back. And a lot of teams might have just fully committed and pushed in like, oh yeah, we're just feeling pretty good after eliminating Alpha 7. No, they go back. We have a strong position. We're going to play it safe. I like when a team can be both respectful and aggressive. That is the true mark of a champion in my eyes.
One team that I do got to give a shout out to that you just mentioned was AXTMG. This team is not shying away from fighting top dogs. That was the big question mark. Is AXTMG, with the lack of global experience that they have, are they going to be crumbling? Is everybody just going to be stepping over them? That's not the case so far.
No.
They're willing to take those fights, and they're willing to take them quick, too. And one thing that we saw is whenever they go into close range, it can actually go their way, too.
It can absolutely go their way. My big concern with them was their speed. I thought that they are actually a very slow team compared to the rest of the lobby, and that actually they've stepped up massively. They've seen that, oh, this is where our weak point is. This is where we could fall down and get overrun. They have stepped up massively in that regard. So really, really nice show from them.
Yeah, you were scared about the rotates. I was a little bit more scared about their DBS game because you know, as a region that hasn't played globally for a long time, he has the special invite team. I was like, is your DBS and S12K game on point? And I was talking to Ocean Sharma. He said, it's good. But I was like, is it good enough? Well, clearly it has been good enough for some of the fights, like in Ruins on Sanok, for example. So that's a doubt that's kind of gone away for XTMG. Seems like they can back it up. And I do also enjoy how they played this game. They knew they weren't going to win this match.
Yes.
After that encounter with Alpha 7, we're not going to win this. We're going to play it passive. Let's try and aim for top 3 with a few eliminations. That is really nice to see when a team understands we're not taking this. Let's just gather as many points as humanly possible.
I mean, and that's the player, right? Just gather as many points as you can. But let's take a look at the overall as we're halfway
what a
through
lead.
day one.
Whoa.
Or Thrives, 43 points. Horror Esports, 25.
Thrives, chill.
I'm cleaning my glasses just to make sure I'm reading that right, and
Yeah.
it is. That is a healthy lead for Thrives.
It's what you want to see in the group stage, right? When you know you have a day off at some point over the next 2 days, right? It's either tomorrow or the last day. You want to get as many points as possible today.
Yeah, I mean, I'm looking at DRX in particular. If we're going to go on a negative quickly on the first
Yeah.
page. They got 10 placement points. They have 1 chicken dinner. Quick math, that means 0 points back to back on their angle. This is the map you have the most every day, DRX, okay? You are the Korean team. You have the Korean champions here, normally of D plus Kia. You're replacing them at PMWC, kinda. We need to see more, and unfortunately, outside of Sanok, nothing's been happening as you go to the second page here. Quite a few SEA teams in E-Arena in particular.
When we're talking about teams that we need to see more out of, one that just pops into my head right away is Weibo Gaming. The hype that this team had, I was on that hype train too. Right now, they're just not being able to put up any points in Neptune.
I think it's just kind of odd, but I do wonder if maybe, I mean, day number 1 is all about kind of adapting, so maybe we're going to see some better rotations, but also they've just not really been in play at all.
Sook didn't find a bow yet. That's right.
Oh,
Just
that's
wait.
right.
You'll
That's
find
true.
it.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Well, you know what? I can't wait. Let's send that over to Barton because I want to see what's going to be happening here in Erangel in the next match.
Welcome back to the Gadia Arena, where we are halfway through our first day of the group stage. But don't worry if you're only just joining us, because I'm here to break down everything if you might have missed it. Game 1, we had Sandhawk, and we opened up with a bang because AXTMG hot dropped right next to Nongshim Red Force. AXTMG came out on top in that fight, but ultimately at the end of the map, it was indeed DRX that went up against Team Falcons in a 4v3. DRX came out on top in that fight and managed to secure the first chicken dinner of the competition and 19 points. Next up, we had Erangel. Erangel kicked off From the start, Team Secret were looking strong, holding the east side of the circle and ultimately not letting anyone come in behind them. However, it was Alpha 7 who had one thing on their mind, and that was survival, with the duo of Carrillo and Revo reviving each other constantly throughout that entire map and ultimately defeating Team Secret in the final fight and securing 20 points for them. Map number 3 started off a bit slower, a bit cleaner, because it was indeed a lot of people switching up their drops as I am lowered down in the stage. And 4 Thrives have to have an honorable mention for having such an impressive day, taking out Alpha 7 as well and managing to secure their first chicken dinner with 14 eliminations. What a first day we are through so far, but we're only halfway, 3 more maps to go. So let's hear some energy in the arena, because we're going to go into our next map very soon.
There it is. We are halfway through. That's the important talking point. Halfway through today's maps, number 4 of 6. We hop back into Erangel, as Neptura said at the beginning of the show. That should be the bread and butter for multiple teams. However, it hasn't been. But we do have some top dogs at the top, Alpha 7 being one of them, looking to make it straight into the finals. 4 Thrives, though. John, going all the way, it seems. We talked about a point threshold. You're thinking it's around 80. 4 Thrives have already reached that.
They have certainly outperformed on today's games, right? 2 matches in, they are over 40 points there. That is half of the way to that metric, right? If you're looking at previous tournaments that have been played with a 12-map set, it is around the 80-point mark that you will see for 8th place on 24 teams. They've done half of the work that they need to do over these next few matches. It means that over the next 9 matches, they're looking, over the next 9 matches, they are going to need to look to put 40 more points on to feel nice and safe. Yeah. That is a pretty low average.
I would say so. We see some big games, but we were talking about it. Consistency is key, not only here, but also in life. Let me not get too deep already. It's my first global event here, but I will say 6 points or so, you're saying, I think is where you want to be. But granted, that's, of course, not counting the first 3 games. We've got some teams towards the bottom. Now, we'll talk about them over time. Power's been struggling, right? Nogshim, Red Force have also been eliminated quite early throughout multiple games, and they're not the only ones, but I do want to say the race for top 8 to make it into finals is still very, very close. We've got to keep our eye on from Team Secret and above, and of course the home favorite team Falcons in 9th looking to make their way up.
Yeah, absolutely. It is still very much all to play for at this stage. Because of 4 Thrives taking so many points from the lobby, that increases the volatility of the rest of the tables. It means that they're going to be closer to one another. It means that position jumps are going to be easier, or rather more difficult to fend off for the teams who have already got those top 8 spots. And it's going to be really exciting to see how that unfolds. I think that the most interesting team I saw on that table there towards the bottom was Regnum Kaya. This is disappointing for the reigning PMGO champs coming into this one. They need to step up. They need to step up fairly quickly. I have no doubt in my mind that they can do it. The question is, will they bring it to bear today?
That's the question. We got a nice zone. Liking it, potentially setting up for a bridge zone. I love bridge zones. More importantly, I love military, but most likely going over to the mainland. But I do want to focus in as we've got 2 teams maybe about to skirmish out over on military. Of course, talk about Fireflux, and you got Team Secrets most likely going to be running into each other. They could have a truce. Maybe they say, hey, you go over to the right side bridge, we'll take over to left, and we'll just go our own way. But if I'm Team Secret, I've been on fire today. I'm not going to be intimidated by anybody. And you want to talk about being on fire? Fireflux is quite literally there in the top 3 running. So I'm looking at them to potentially be one of the front runners in the engagement. But who knows? We'll see how it ends up unfolding. What else do we see?
At the moment, it looks like Team Secret might just be heading out to the east, disengage. West and east bridges both available still. At the moment, it doesn't seem like too much more is unfolding. I feel like George Pole is potentially a little bit of a hotspot for contest on this northwest side. 2 teams in South George, Alpha 7 up in North George. That crossing down south, that because of this first circle, is going to have to happen for Alpha 7, could be under duress. Could be a little bit of conflict in their future.
Yeah, but you got to think about who they're going against, right? It's E-Arena, who, well, let's face it, they've been struggling, only sitting at 8 points, currently in 13th place. And Alpha 7, being the top dogs they are. Winning that game, by the way, game 2 with 2 players was phenomenal. I could not believe my eyes. You actually called it early. I wasn't a believer until the very end, but able to get, 4 to 5 revives overall. It was Revo and Korea who was able to get that win. So if I'm E-Arena and, of course, having to rotate down, I've got to go against Galacticos. That's not going to be an easy fight for either of those rosters. So for Alpha 7, I'm still favoring them, but you're right. I think we will have a skirmish soon.
They could always break out further to the east, right? There is always that option to go for a wide swing, but depending on the pace that they can loot, the pace that they can get out of North George, they may be able to avoid that altogether, so we'll keep an eye out on that one. Team Secret, they did move all the way over to Novo. This is on the military island right now on your screens. They did move out east, so no conflict here for the time being. The question I have is, where are Fireflux going to rotate? I expect Team Secret to be going over the east bridge. Sure. I'm wondering if Fireflux are going to try and join them, because you're going to be aware that 4th Thrives are going to be on the other side of that bridge. And right now, I don't feel like you want to head towards this team.
I don't think so. 4th Thrives, they're obviously the top dogs for a reason. Will they be the top dogs by the end of this tournament? Who knows? But right now, they are undisputably the best with more than double the points, even over 2nd, which is Hora. But I would think so, though. You know, for Fireflux, I would go to the right side bridge alongside that at Team Secret. But then you have Power over there, too. And Power, I don't know. There's no reason for them to go too deep into the zone as of yet. Bridge camp potential, you think?
It could be. I mean, it does potentially waste a little bit of time. It looks like 4th Thrives are going to disengage from that bridge position over towards a more central location, up towards that hill ridge that sits further north, but there's always time to come back as well. We'll have to see if that yo-yo comes through. And actually, Yangon Galacticos on the move. Okay, so that opens the door for Alpha 7, which was potential for them to find that path on in. Getting very, very central, nice and quickly. Into 5 minutes of the game and already finding a central spot. Reckon Kaya looking to do the same.
Yeah, taking a little bit of damage, but they're going to be just fine for the time being. This is a team that was much hyped up coming into PMWC, a team that needs to start gathering points. As we said, we're on our halfway point. Only 9 more games remain. Yeah, you've got 3 days of group stage, but the teams only played 2 of those days, a total of 12 games. 3 are already gone. With the point race being as close as it currently is, I know they're in 12th place, I should say, but they can easily jump right up with how close it is all the way up to top 8. And, well, DRX on your screen, a team that ended up starting off the day hot with the winner chicken dinner. They're currently in 6th place. It's going to be nice and quiet for the time being.
Yeah, just bunkering down right now. Early circles, keeping it chill, keeping the nerves in check. Something that I would love to see is like heart rate monitors coming.
Yes, we need that.
That would be really sick. Although to be fair, 64 heart rate monitors, that sounds like a nightmare.
Absolutely.
To be honest. But either way, I mean, it'd be so interesting to see how these players are affected by it. Obviously, early game, you're expecting some low tempos, but you can imagine it goes through the roof in those final moments.
Oh yeah.
Unless you're Revo and Carrillo.
Sure.
In the final moments, you're just super chilling.
You know, Alpha 7 is one of those teams that are just always so relaxed, it seems, and you got to appreciate that. I think that owes to their success. Falcons getting active, which good on them, the home team. I know the crowd's been going crazy for Team Falcons, as you would expect. A lot of the crowd set up actually right behind the Falcons roster, so they're hearing the loud roars every single time they pop off. For Team Falcons, they were center zone. Of course, they've got a lot of teams around them, but I do believe where they're currently at is, again, they're going to be chilling. Not a lot of teams want to fight at the moment. They'll do it if they have to, but for now, it's all about positioning into stage 2.
Absolutely. For the Falcons, they came into this tournament obviously as the winner of their region, coming in from Europe and qualifying through there. They won via a smash ruling. So if you want to take a look at that, make sure you go and check it out. But not yet, because we've still got more game to play. Unfortunately, it felt like some of the time, especially during the earlier stages of that tournament, they weren't quite as cohesive as they need to be to take on the global levels. They moved into the finals, and it felt like they had pieced it together, right? At the moment, they've got Redox, Koa, Narvalo, Ralph playing on the roster. It felt like sometimes there was a little bit of disarray in and amongst the roster, but right towards the end, they did show up. I was worried coming into this tournament that those early stages would come back and that performance would recur. For now, it seems like they're holding their nerve. There have been 1 or 2 missteps today in some pretty crucial moments, but I think for now, I'm pretty happy with where they're sat, up in 9th place, 18 points. They've got this first point on board as well.
Yeah, it's day 1, right? Since only 3 games in. We talk about teams struggling, but you know, right now it's time to get your feet underneath you, get used to the LAN environment. There are several players out there, this is their first LAN, and it hits differently, right? When you're playing at home, you're nice and comfortable, there's no pressure virtually, you're feeling okay. When you come to the LAN experience, you got crowds yelling at you, maybe booing you, maybe cheering you. You got a mix of emotions. For Team Falcons, I think they're doing just fine, and you talked about their progression. Well, we need to see progression from so many different rosters, and honestly, for me, Alpha 7, I wasn't happy with their America's performance, I really wasn't, but I think that narrative's out the window. I'm feeling good. We shift now to mainland, and now we get to see Boards Rise. They're going to gatekeep, of course, one of the rosters going across.
Fireflux are already trying to make their way through, but this eastern side is really heating up around Potato Hill. You've got Aura trying to make their way on through, Power leading the charge from that side of the map. Influence Rage going for a wide sweep out towards the north. The question is, where are they going to cut in? Are they going to go all the way out? Maybe challenge Alpha 7. There's potential there, depending on how far they go. They know they'll be on a home ground fight, right? Influence Rage versus Alpha 7. These two rosters will be familiar with one another. Yeah. They could have a little bit of an edge in this fight, potentially, or the same could be true on the other side.
Influence Rage on your screen. Been happy with this roster through America's second place. They played so very, very well. In fact, even outdoing that of Alpha 7 during the PMSL Americas season. Well done from them. They've not done too bad. I know they're in 10th place, but again, that point gap, that point spread is just so incredibly close. But we're talking 4 points from going from 10th up to top 5, right? So for Influence Rage, happy they're going to be on the dead side of the zone in the north. I'm very curious how that's going to end up paying off for them. I want to see them make a deep run. I feel like Influence Rage is a roster. They've been around. We've talked about them on the global stages before, but this is the year I think they're truly going to show what they're made of.
I would hope so, but it seems like they have always been the little brother of the region, right? They are there, they're powerful in their own right, but they just haven't been able to take that next step. Maybe they'll find that development here, but I feel like with Big Brother's Alpha 7 in the lobby, it's going to be hard to try and take that fight.
Yeah. Well, and that's a great point, right? When it comes to Americas, it was a region that we paid attention to mainly for Brazil, North America. I know we've got our struggles. We're going to try and make it back up eventually. We're getting better, I promise you. But when you talk about the Big Brother of Alpha 7, I saw a massive improvement across the board from all the rosters because they know they've got Alpha 7 to battle against. Trust me, they wanted to win PMSL Spring Season 2025. And unfortunately, of course, some of them didn't, but for others, they did dethrone Alpha 7. Alpha 7 barely made it to this stage. Let's put that into perspective. They're doing great now, but I really do think Alpha 7's performance, them winning last year at EWC, truly made the other rosters say, I've got to step it up. You talk about little brother, they're looking to be the big brother now.
Absolutely. Try and have a little bit of regnal combat going on through. Take that throne away from Alpha 7. We'll be making sure to keep up to date to find who will be able to take that top spot. But is it even going to matter, right? Because at the end of the day, it's about that global interaction. Sure, you can increase the quality of those lobbies, but then how does that playstyle move into the current stage of gameplay? And with the experience that Alpha 7 has at this level,
right?
I think that is going to be a massive, massive hurdle to overcome for the teams looking to catch up. In a regional stage, sure, it's intense, sure, it's a lot, but when you put the international stage together, it changed the game entirely. It changes how the lobby plays, how it feels, everything about it, the lights on the stage. It can be a real task to overcome. Hard southwest shift on this circle, all the way out towards a pretty similar location where we saw this last match finished as well, out to the southwest side of Pachinki on those hills. You've got DRX slap bang in the middle. They've been hiding there for a long time.
They have, and they like to play it slow, but hey, make no mistake about it, they can get active if need be. You push into them, you've got a heck of a fight on your hands. Half of the lobby, quite literally half of the lobby, have to now rotate into the next stage, and you got a couple of teams who are set up. And talking about the couple, well, you've got them right here, right in front of you. Alpha 7, we talked about this fight. When was it going to go down? E-Arena landing up top alongside that of Alpha 7. Now they finally come, and they bump head-to-head.
Mormon with the first blood drawn there. Revo goes down, and immediate, looking for the refrag through the window. Not going to find it. Sliver of HP still there. And now with a nade cooking, it's Alpha 7 who are biting the dust more so than ever. Joker went down earlier, but now it's 3 players alive, and Alpha 7 can't find the fights. Tourniquet goes up the stairs, and immediately with the pump action around the corner, Alpha 7 coming apart of the seams.
Alpha 7, they're falling apart. Carrillo, can he be the hero? Can he be the one to save the day? They're already in shambles. He would be the only one leaving this engagement. Influence Rage, mind you, they might come in for the third party. This fight needs to be finished up, but Carrillo throws a Molotov, and it's going to at least drop one from the arena, and Carrillo going for it off angle, taking damage, but he has no choice but to push forward, and he's making the most of it. Alpha 7 refusing to lose.
Not yet. They will not go quietly. An Influence Rage on the south side looking to guard this one out. Carrillo, though, could slip through the cracks as a solo. It's a lot easier to go unnoticed, but unfortunately, the firefight around him has drawn the attention of their regional teammates, and they will have to move through it. Carrillo, I don't expect them to be getting too much further, but he could leave north side, try and get in amongst it.
Well, they did it as a duo. Can Carrillo do it as a solo? That would be even crazier. Don't count him out, but I agree with you. Now you're going for placement points. You're in survival mode, and luckily for Carrillo, Influence Rage has backed away. It doesn't look like they're going to crash in on him, so should be just fine. And while he'll be a solo, wreaking havoc on the remaining rosters. Falcons moving in as, of course, Vision now wants to take on the Falcons. Let's see how it unfolds.
A double roll-up again as teams start to move. This is what hard shifts bring. Action left and right. Redox on the inside goes down first. The pump action from Never Alone and the flush as well. So Falcons fighting with 3. Navallo wins the trade. The pump action winning the day, and a second as well. Koa's there for the backup. There's a nade. It doesn't sit, and Navallo can now look for this healing on the northeast side. Order are nearby, and it looks like they're going to roll in for the fight.
There it goes. Hey, Order wants this. They need it. Points so valuable to catch up. They're already in top 3, but they want a little bit more. Vision taking damage on the stairway, but don't worry, because you got Narvalo from the Falcons who's been holding it down, and you mentioned Horror. Well, here they are. Sleepy, no fear, starting to take the house opposite of Team Falcons. We've now lost a roster, and all attention on Falcons versus Horror now.
Massive pickup on the back line of Horror as well, meaning they're 2 players on the inside. Losing that off angle is huge. It draws the attention out that way, and a knock on the forefront as well. Falcons are splitting the difference here on the fight beautifully as they will look for more.
Narvalo, I mean, he has just been doing quite literally everything. All eyes on him. The tip of the spear for this roster to take down Sleepy and No Fear. Ralph also moving in as well. You gotta think they've got a power position. That stairway is always hard to push up, though. It's going to be a choke point, and you know dang well Horror's going to be looking straight down it.
Immediately finding these flushes as well. They beautifully split the attention. An off angle, a third party coming through from Power as they sweep through the back line, and it is going to be turning tail and running the story for Horror now in the rest of this match. 2 players alive. Sleepy's not long for this one. The point gets stolen though, and it goes over to Power.
So now Jiggle Sky, they're going to go in and dip. They're going to get within zone. They're going to play the survival game like Alpha 7's Carrillo, but I'd rather have 2 than 1. Either way, that's how it ended up unfolding. Power Esports, who's had such a struggle throughout our tournaments. Not one of the first teams out, mind you, so maybe good news for them. We talk about at the halfway point, 9 more games remaining. I'm hoping Power is able to turn things around in this airing game.
We didn't really talk about it too much with all the fighting going on, but the circle shift was another hard southwest side shift, which means that Falcons had to move fast and early. Unfortunately, they weren't in the best of shapes to do it, as Horror do finally bite the dust. It means that Falcons are going to have to crash in a suboptimal situation to the north side. Same story going to be true for Power, as they have now wasted a little bit of time, I think it's safe to say, on this northeast side.
So Falik, he's going to be the scout, kind of breaking away from 4 Thrives, who are going to be just up to the northeast of where he's currently at, and maybe calling out Solus, who I believe is down, if I'm not mistaken. We do have a bit of a crash, though. Falcons continuing to get into engagements, and this time it doesn't work out.
Regnum Kaya, the ones to receive that in the ditch, in the divot. It's going to go down for the Falcons, and I don't think that their lone player is going to get to, hang on a minute, take it back. Koa with a drive-by onto Romeo, hits him with a runaround, and we'll be able to survive a moment or 2 longer. But really no safe ground in this central area. These hillsides are littered with Caltrops.
Yeah, for Galacticos, we obviously tuned in with them just a little bit, but they got teams all around them, including Power, but Power is not having a good time. Galacticos are taking them down left and right. Falcons also eliminated some heavy dogs already out.
Yeah, that was the final player, Koa, going down. He was not able to find any respite in the middle. And now, with 4 teams or so looking to try and hold it out, seems like Regnum Kaya want to extend their influence. A nade over towards Easy connects, and that is going to be a beautiful opener. 2 players now standing for Power, as there's teams behind them also looking to put pressure on. Rolling on out, Regnum Kaya not going to let Easy go down, and the 2 and 2 roll around will be good for it. However, there is a sideline that they need to be worried about. Get the cover in. Wild low as well. The vehicle's going up in smoke, and Loxy's down all of a sudden.
Yeah, he's down, and I believe that was a third party from DRX way off in the distance. distance, getting some shots out. And, well, we got Team Secret also trying to survive. I mean, you got so many teams in shambles, and when you got to go to these shacks, I call them the Death Shack, you're in a lot of trouble. But the teams have spread out quite a bit. I'm actually surprised we've lost so many rosters and players at this stage of the game.
This open field situation, this open hillside that sits to the north of it, these two hard southwest shifts followed by a northeast shift, maybe giving a little bit of pause for a breather, but still those two hard shifts that we saw in a row have really changed the tune here in the lobby. It's forced teams to take fights where they wouldn't have wanted to otherwise, and now at 18.5 minutes in, we're down to 10 teams, and a lot of those teams not looking healthy.
Take a peek at Fireflux racing against Papa Blue. Influence Rage just above them. Talk about Fireflux landing over on Military. Would they have a bit of a skirmish from 4 Thrives on the Western Bridge? That doesn't end up happening, so they're still alive. Now down to, of course, just a handful of teams. Circle closing in, another shift about to begin, excuse me, as Fireflux starts to get active a little bit. Luckily, they got on the vehicles. The question is, can Influence Rage, do they get aggressive? Obviously, they have to move. Do they set position up to the right-hand side to cut off Fireflux's rotation?
Be tricky here for both of these teams on the southwest side, and Fireflux are first to move. For the moment, Influence Rage still holding in their compound near Quarry, and they're going to have to try and go in a little bit later. So Fireflux, where are they going to opt to crash in? They've already sent 2 players towards this Regnum Kaya stronghold. I don't know how that's going to go for them. We know that there's third-party angles on there. They're already getting lit up. Scarface with a slow roll around the side, but the vehicle takes him down. It's Regnum Kaya and Nongshim Red Force on the crossfire. Now the 2 remaining players of Fireflux going to try and send Long over to the north side. A straight cut through the circle on the western flank. And in the meantime, in the wake of that rotation, Influence Rage push in from the west.
Yeah, they're coming in, and they're going to be coming in hard. It's going to be a big push from them. Regnum Kaya needs to watch out, of course, as Influence Rage, a dominant team. Fireflux, I cannot believe that they're still alive in this moment. It's so unfortunate they lost 2 of their players, so now they've got to go at it. And, well, Influence Rage actually looked to be crashing in on Korea, who's been a solo for the longest time.
He has been alive, and he's going to keep trying as 4 Thrives go down as well. In the meantime, Carrillo with his full send straight towards Fireflux. 2 players alive,
what?
But he goes too slow. No hop out to be seen, and Ketch finds a duck sitting in his sightlines.
That's it. And Fireflux, luckily for them, they will be dead center of the current zone. That's great, but also could potentially make you a target. You've got Galacticus, who's going to be just onto your left. Got DRX as well. Influence Rage, of course, are going to be moving in. We'll be keeping our eye out for Fireflux, and of course, at the moment. And also Team Power, man, I gotta say, for Team Power's perspective, just still struggling. I thought for a good moment they were gonna have a great game based on their positioning on the north, but just got too rough for them.
They weren't quite able to convert here. Fireflux do finally go down. The last 2 of Regnum Kaya sidle on in, but Silas needs a little hand here from Wild, as they only have 2 players to go. Yangon Galacticos on the northwest edge also can put pressure onto this location, but they're being a little bit slow with it. They're more concerned about Influence Rage on the west side, who have been, again, very slow, very tepid in their rotational pace here on the west edge.
As things start to slow down just a little bit, shots are ringing out, but nobody really at risk of going down except for Lil Boy. I'd say Galacticos trying to take him down. They will do so. The rest of the Influence Rage roster, I guess, a little bit separated. Lil Boy maybe being a scout, can't get away. And that's so unfortunate because they had such a strong position on this side of the map, and now they've got to recover and make a decision. Do we go for revenge, or do we just continue to play the dead zone, get in there, and maybe watch our backs? Because, of course, you know, Red Force, they're going to be moving in just behind them potentially, but I think that's an oversight, leaving Lil Boy out by his own. But they're going in, they're crashing.
They may have expected Yangon Galacticos to go further forwards, in which case the Lil Boy would have been in prime location to take those backstab shots when Influence Rage needs to move up north. They overinvest potentially on that angle, and Yangon Galacticos have excellent wherewithal to be able to read that and take down that player at the back. Very, very cautious, but it works out well for them. And now they can be the ones to put the pressure on Influence Rage as they take a fight on 2 fronts. You could see on the minimap this vice grip that now sits around this Influence Rage position.
So they got to make a decision. Push forward, push back. Staying where you're currently at could be a death trap. And they look like they were going to push in onto Nongshim Red Force, but they don't make the full commitments. And in the meantime, yeah, you see them still taking their time. The more time you take, the more of an opportunity for a third party. The nade, luckily, just a bit short. Law's going to be okay. And with them hopping in cars, are they disengaging?
Well, they saw Silas rolling up, and I was watching Silas just there, and he randomly decided to send towards Yangon Galacticos. He did get a lot of info on their location, but he took a lot of damage in the process. He's slow rolling behind the vehicle, looking for a time to pop that first aid, but he didn't put the handbrake on here, and it's just going to keep rolling away from him.
Oh, the nade. So close, Silas. Down, unfortunately. Tough break for him. We focus now on DRX. Reginald just up ahead. DRX has had such a great day. This fight should be no different, you would have to assume anyways. For Reginald, Kara, they gotta obviously make a bit of an impact here. For Influence Rage, by the way, standing strong, taking down the team opposite of them, of course, Noxham Red Force. That's gonna be a great opportunity now to gain a couple more points, move up. Granted, only 2 players, but still, with that gap being the top 8, so close to them already breaking into top 8, I think this game could be very valuable.
Absolutely, they do have 2 players alive, losing Diego in that fight. They will be playing on from that southwest side. Yangon Galacticos disengaged because of this crazy play from Silas, so a little bit of a breath of life potentially into this Influence Race position. Ooh, Weibo though, find the pick off onto Lorazin, and on the backlines, that's going to leave Influence Rage on just 1 player remaining now, and that is going to make things real tough for them. DRX, again, been fairly quiet throughout this. They're up to 3 elims, but they have all 4 players alive. They're playing on this long side of the hill. They're going to start to be able to move up. It's Yangon Galacticos, DRX, these 2 opposing positions, and Weibo on the southeast side as well. Already on 6 elims, by the way. Having a brilliant game so far, who have a more central position here. The rest is dribs and drabs, ragtag bunch of solos.
Solos galore. That was from the early violence that we witnessed pretty early. I think, stage 1, stage 2, quite honestly. Law, though, I'm very interested in what he's going to be able to do, only because as a solo, he can truly devastate essentially the positioning of not only the last player from Team Secret, but also Weibo, depending if he's able to penetrate that off angle. So he could be a thorn in their side, depending, but of course, all eyes on DRX and Weibo. And Weibo needs a good game here. This would be tremendous for him. They've been towards the bottom. They were much hyped up. In fact, I believe even in the power rankings, Weibo breaking into the top 3 for our analysts. So for them, this game could be exactly what the doctor ordered in order to rise up the ranks.
You would hope so. For a while now, the teams from the PL have been a little bit out of the spotlight, looking for a little bit of a resurgence here. We've got Thundertalk to look forward to, but for now, it is just Weibo flying that PEL flag. Yangon Galacticos now moving on in towards Wild, but he spots him and immediately step up, spray down. You can't give him that broadside. Romeo feels the brunt of it, and Wild looks for another as well. 2 players rolling up. The spray down potential, but Wild will fall, and that will be Regnum Kaya out.
That's unfortunate. That fight was setting up for quite some time for Yangon Galacticos. Good on them. They stay up, they stay alive. Still 3 strong, mind you. So a chance to take this game is in, but now DRX also getting active. Weibo onto Yangon Galacticos up ahead. If I'm DRX, I'm now crashing in onto Galacticos, taking them down, because really once they do that, they control the entirety of the northern portion of the next stage.
The difficulty is what sort of angles do you expose to the south side here. There's this big saddle that Yangon Galacticos sit in. You can see DRX a little bit hesitant to go for the full send here. They're moving out to the west side as DRX do manage to keep that fight penned on in. Yangon Galacticos fall. They don't need to full flush. They have control of the north side entirely here. And now they can move back out to this eastern side and start to put pressure down south.
All right, so Team Secret, 1 alive. Meanwhile, you got a good old-fashioned 4v4. Weibo versus DRX. The overhead view showing you what's at stake. You got a little bit of elevation. DRX is going to be on the high ground. Meanwhile, the snakes in the grass of Weibo slowly inching their way up. The question is, once they apex that hill, is Weibo going to mow them down?
It's all on the spokes here in these final moments as Team Secret losing their final play. Well, hang on a minute. Take it back. Sorry, hang on a minute. Oh no, a little bit of miscomms on the spray down. Finally, orders there. The Sook can't quite connect. But now it is a full 4 versus 4. DRX, who have moved back out to this north side, have it fully under control. There's still an off angle played for her on that southeast side of Weibo Gaming. You can see that movement now coming up the hill towards that shack. And DRX looking to extend their influence here for South Korea.
Forder. You can't. I was going to say if you can get an off angle extend to the left, but it's a bit too tricky. A lot of utility was used from DRX a little bit earlier to take down Galacticos. I'm sure that They wish they at least saved a little bit of it so they can have this utility to apex that hill onto Weibo just up ahead. But at least the good news from DRX at the moment, nobody from Weibo really has like a tremendous off angle. Maybe suck over onto the left-hand side. But aside from that, like DRX with their Wolfpack, it's going to be tough because Weibo's going to get up. They're going to shoot one. DRX is going to be able to focus fire everything onto 33Z, Order, or Zuck just onto the left-hand side. So honestly, in this position, I think I have to favor DRX.
It's all going to be up to the smoke play, right?
Sure.
You can really change the tide of a fight like this, especially on such a weirdly rolling terrain position. If you can create a smoke separation, you have a huge advantage, and you're talking about these off angles. Those can be assuaged with good smoke play, right? So it depends how you're able to target it. It also depends how much utility you've got left in these final moments. You can see that for Weibo Gaming, they've been through the ringer. They've got 9 elims already, but certainly on 33Z, there's no smokes, only one nade here.
He's the tip of the spear, too. With his forward position, he's most likely going to be the one to attack first. And you need the rest of the rosters out there to help him out from Weibo. Order's going to throw out a smoke. We're now repositioning. He's going to take the lower end for 33Z. He's got a little nade going past him, but he's going to be just fine. Weibo now also in a buggy. They're getting active. I don't know. DRC better be ready for it. Excuse me, DRX. Better be ready for this engagement. Weibo, they're starting to get sneaky.
Playing on in the smoke, he drops that, sits in the backseat of the buggy, can get that little higher ground angle to look for the peaks, but DRX should know this is what's happening, and immediately these nades respond! DRX read it beautifully. They're like, what's that smoke doing there? What's that buggy doing there? Well, I think we know what we got to do. 3 pins pulled and 1 player falls. 33Z now looking to try and get an answer here. This res is going to be so difficult, Reflections.
I don't think they're going to get it. There's no way. Do you fully commit for that? Because you have to assume DRX is going to capitalize off of it. They're taking it slow, but once those smoke dissipate, they're going to get active, and DRX takes down yet another one. Another one will fall, and this should be the ending that DRX is looking for.
This is beautifully played by DRX, immediately capitalizing on that knock into the smoke. These smokes bloom on the top of the hill. They create sightline channels that they can play through. There's a res coming through for Weibo, and they do manage to get 3 players back up in an action, but Scissors forward now. 33Z spotted, gets the knock. Is there an answer? Order looks for it, and they do find the challenge that they were looking for. Hurt is there as well. Look for that backup. In a 3 versus 2, though, DRX still have the numbers.
DRX has the numbers, but do they have the wherewithal to figure out where Weibo is going to be up to? It seems like the forces are falling, and I think this is finally going to be the end, albeit a miracle play. DRX closing the vice grip, pushing forward. Weibo falls, and it will in fact be DRX taking game number 4 on Aragao.
Lying in wait, they move through the hills, a coordinated approach, a brilliant read onto Order's buggy rotation, looking for vision, and they will be able to find that knot, open up the bidding on that final engagement. Not enough utility from Weibo to be able to survive that final fight. They've got plenty of points though on the match, and they will be nearly level with DRX to find that one. 16 points for Weibo, and DRX up on 18, so a fairly minimal Elin chicken dinner.
Hey, whether it's minimal or not, that's 2 winner-winner chicken dinners of the 4 that we've seen today, which shows DRX has the proven ability to take games when it matters most and win, which is going to be so critical during the finals. DRX, all eyes on them today, and while they look to catch up to the likes of 4 Thrives, Alpha 7, in fact, they could have very well taken 2nd place after this game alone. Weibo are no slouches to take that 1v1 and win it. DRX on top.
Absolutely, a little bit of revitalization coming through for Weibo from the bottom of the tables, able to put a big dent in the necessary gameplay to find it. Well, let's take a breather after that one as DRX are able to take the 4th chicken dinner of the day.
Reach your impossible. Lenovo Legion.
anticipated addition to the Mummy Series outfits is here. Paired with the new Ice Tube Glider, the Polar Spectrophage set is just what you need to freeze your enemies. Or send them ablaze with the Inferno Fiend set's new upgradable Chain Inferno Uzi. All the Mummy outfits are back. Get them all. Join now and collect the whole series to turn all eyes on the battleground. Event period, July 10th, 2025 through September 2nd, 2025.
Are you ready?
Smashed it.
One thing is for certain, there is an abundance of fans here in the arena. Influence Rage, talk to me. How has the performance from the team been so far?
I think we can do better. Yeah, we can do better.
Well, you're currently sat in the area of the crowd where all of the Team Falcons fans are. Is it a little bit scary for you?
Yes, I am.
Well, is there anything you want to say to the Influence Rage team right now? They need your support.
Let's go, Inf. I believe it. I believe. Let's go.
You believe in Influence Rage?
Yeah.
Yeah, they can do it. Let's find out whether or not they can.
Well, it wasn't Influence Rage that got the win, but it was DRX being able to get the... It wasn't the back-to-back. It was the two-time winners of day one of PMWC at EWC 25. A big surprise, honestly. I was not expecting any teams to be able to get two chicken dinners in the first day. They were able to do it, Max.
Yeah, it was a back, break, to back. It just took a little break in the middle of that one. But a really good execution from them, playing it relatively safe on their side. Same for WBG. There was a lot of circle luck involved, I would have to say. A lot of teams that really didn't have to fight too hard for it compared to like an Influence Rage. They were just like, we're just going to try and do something. Same for Yangon Galactico. So you had two options. Teams just like fighting to just survive, and teams just like, we're big chilling today. And they were.
Well, we've been wanting to talk about DRX. Another team that we've been wanting to talk about has been none other than Weibo. So let's go to the SMB head-to-head, DRX versus Weibo Gaming. And I mean, look at the damage that these two teams were able to put up, Natura.
Wow, that is actually a lot of damage, considering we didn't see anything from Weibo in that first half of the game at all. Like, completely silent from them. At all, yes. But I think it was just a really interesting game for them because they stacked up really, really close together. I think they were almost all in one shack, which is very risky, but it did work out. And then as soon as there was space around them to actually move and play, they actually spread out. They took control. They had a 3-1 split with an anchor in the field just to make sure things were moving smoothly. And it really, really worked in their favor, just able to spread out slowly, bit by bit, very steadily. There was nothing untoward. There's nothing overextending, nothing aggressive. But just by sheer movement, they were able to get that second place really well.
Yeah, no, I'd have to agree on that one. I think they had a really good setup just to make sure we don't have a weak point behind us, right? Making sure you talk about that field angle, just make sure that no team is going to try and go for that wide rotate south or east to try and backstab you as possible. So very defensive play here, and because of that, they would get a second place with 16 points on the board. So very happy to see China here getting a big game.
And I'm pretty sure V2K is still going to be telling his team, we need to do better. Even though they ended up in fourth place there with those 9 points, one team that did end up doing better that I'm happy to see here in the first page, Max, is Regnum Karya Esports with 8 points, 6 of them coming from eliminations.
Yeah, actually a very, very big fight in the center versus, I think it was Fireflux. It's like, we're both from Turkey, guys. Let's be homies. Like, no. There's no peace between us right now. We have to fight for this position. A very good send onto Fireflux because you might say, well, the high ground position is just flat. Actually, you do have a slight dip and you just need to make sure you clear that area first, and then you just zone teams away, which they were trying to do. It wasn't a game-winning position. It was a position where you could get a ticket to a good top 5 position, which I think they understood that. We're not going to win this match. Let's just try and go as far as we can and get a few eliminations, especially.
Yeah, I will say, though, as well, is that Regnum Karya in that 5th place, but the top 4 teams were all edge teams. That was something that I noticed in this game in particular. Everybody kind of just crashed to the center, except a few teams, and it was those teams that ended up getting that top 4 spot, at least in points-wise, at least in that match ranking, right? So this game was very heavily sided onto those teams that actually held off from that original fight and just kept it to the edge, kept that quiet space until the end game.
I mean, there was one team that you wanted to point out, too, in regards to Team Secret. They had a 1-2 split for the longest time.
Yeah, they did. They really, I'm surprised they survived as long as they did, because, like, you had a one player off into the hills right in the middle of where all that action was happening. And then you had the 2 off into the field just like hanging off, just checking out, making sure they got that placement. I'm surprised that worked as long as they did, because I think they got like top 6, top 7 out of that.
The game plan there is similar to what happened for Regnum Karya. We know we're not winning this game.
Yeah.
They just play very split. Whoever survives, survives.
Yeah.
So it's like a mini battle royale in the battle royale for your own team. And they do have at least 2 players survive until the very end. And as you said, like maybe a top 6 position, get a few points here and there.
Yeah.
So they knew this game was kind of a ride-off. They were able to claim at least a few points. So it's not a non-game for them to at least get something of value out of it. We can even see as the replays here. DRX, the moment they start getting eliminations on WBG, they just claim so much control that WBG just fell like a house of cards instantly.
Yeah, I like that quickness, right? We always talk about these teams being able to react. Boy, did they end up reacting quick. And if we rewind it a little bit more towards the beginning of the match, a big surprise that we saw was Alpha 7 fully send it to E-Arena. E-Arena, though, they were able to defend it pretty good. And Alpha 7, ultimately, Carrillo just coming out on top.
Carrillo is like, that smoke means nothing. I can see right through it. Like, he had laser eyes. I don't know what happened to Carrillo. He got like LASIK surgery or something, because he's got 10 out of 10 vision on both eyes. Yeah. He was able to then survive that one a little bit. He sent it to the center. That was quite unfortunate that he did get picked off, but hey, the thing is, even the IGL, right? A lot of people, the IGL sometimes is the weakest fragger. No, like Carrillo can bring the heat. He can clutch up against E-Arena. So Alpha 7, if it's a full squad or a duo on that Rangorv earlier or a solo, they're always a threat in this lobby.
I mean, you got to remember, Carrillo did start off as a fragger. That's what he was known for. And now he has become the IGL for one of the best teams in the world. And talking about the best teams in the world, currently 4 Thrives wanting to become that, as they're still sitting at the top there with 44 points, Neptura.
I'm just looking, and actually they are on top. You are exactly right. I can confirm. But what I'm looking at is actually DRX moving in. We had a big gap before this game, and DRX have managed to just smash right through that, double their placement points with that extra win. And now they are kind of threatening 4 Thrives' position at this point in time. I will say, though, just over halfway point, Max, none of our power rankings are looking particularly accurate at this point.
Yeah, as of right now, our prediction game is very off, which I would say is on brand.
Pretty bad.
So, you know, I wouldn't talk about it too much. But Yangon Galacticos, I was not really expecting much, but they are such an aggressive, oppressive team going into this. They're not scared of going for fights, which I like to see, because a lot of times you see underdogs just being a little bit too scared in lobbies like this. Like, we don't want to fight, we purely want to get placement points. No, Yangon Galacticos, if they see a team that have a very clear weakness, they will not be scared to go for that engagement on that position. So Yangon Galacticos, seeing them be this confident early on, is a very good setup for what's coming next.
I mean, and they showed it right away. They showed it from the start.
Yeah.
One thing, though, for everybody currently watching at home, from July 25th to the 27th and August 1st to the 3rd, log in to Summon Airdrops and collect 2025 airdrop vouchers to enter prize draws for official merchandise, smartphones, BD partner rewards, permanent in-game items, and more. Every participant is guaranteed to win. Additionally, from July 25th to the 31st, vote for your favorite airdrop partner for a chance to receive a special gift from them. I'm going to be doing it. Max is going to be doing it. Neptura is going to be doing it. Don't miss this year's airdrop carnival and unbox your surprise, because we're all going to be doing it, and I can't wait to see what surprises we're going to be unboxing, especially when we go to Miramar. And I kind of want you to go with the Dr. Suleiman Al-Habib hot take. Are we going to be getting any hot drops, Max?
Well, there's actually a lot of teams dropping in El Pozo, so I would say yes. El Pozo hot drop specifically is going to be happening.
El Pozo? Okay. All right. Neptura?
Yes. To answer your question,
Okay, right
Yes.
on. Yes.
What a hot take. Wow.
Yes. My other hot take was that Miramar is hot, spicy. It's gonna be spicy.
Should we just ban her from the
I
hot
think
take
we should just.
segment? I
I'm
feel
gonna
like we
ban myself
should.
at this
Yeah,
point.
just
Yeah, they're not good.
this is no.
Now, at one point, going back to that last match, though, I think you mentioned something in regards to Fourth Thrives, Neptura. Is there anything you wanted to mention about them? Because it was a lackluster match considering that big gap that they had.
I think they were just too hesitant in that last game. They didn't know where to go. Honestly, they didn't have many options left to them. Maybe with Miramar being a bigger space, they'll be able to actually have those more options in a tricky zone. But we need to see a little bit more proactiveness from them.
They did have a surprise, though, Max. Fireflux came in from military base, and I think that they were not expecting that.
Actually, they didn't even really encounter each other, but they know this typically the pressure might rotate. There's going to be Fireflux. There was power earlier, so they're not being also completely careless because Alpha Gaming's not here. They're like, they might be a team, let's be a little bit respectful, but Alpha Gaming's going to be the real competition when they do encounter Group Green eventually later on down the line. But they were very cautious, but I do have to fully echo what you were saying here, Neptura, on this game. Very hesitant. I don't care if you go for a good or bad play decision. Commit to it as a full team. Your odds of being successful are way higher if you just send it on a big play. And you know what? Your sheer fragging power that we know Fourth Thrives have might be enough to just tear down any team they go up against.
Well, I think and the team that we were all looking for them to actually go after was going to be Weibo. And if that would have happened, if they would have came out on top of that fight, guess what? It would have been a top 2 guaranteed. But you know what? I'm excited to see what's going to be happening here in Miramar. Let's send it over to Reflections and John Allen.
The tables keep on turning, and we will not stop. We're 1 and 2 more revolutions going around Miramar for 2 laps of the desert to see us out of the first day of games here with our first 2 groups on play. We've seen some miraculous turnarounds from these matches. DRX holding the nerve on the northeast side. We've seen Alpha 7 holding the riverbanks right now. But what will the desert have in store for us?
That's the question, isn't it? It's going to be a really good time as DRX take over second place after a tremendous win. They've won 2 out of the 4 games today. Question is, what can they do for the first time on Miramar? A map where teams start to wake up, more specifically from the Americas region. Influence Rage do very, very well on Miramar. Alpha 7 as well. I've seen them drop 20-plus elimination games on Miramar. That would be insanity if they do it here. But top 8 is what they're shooting for currently. Top 6, still very healthy. But you want to finish off day strong. You want to finish off, in top 8. Doing so will then set you up very nicely going into your next group stage matches. We've got a pretty standard playing path, which means we shouldn't see too many crazy drops.
Yeah, we are going to be fairly fair on the start of this Miramar here in terms of achieving that top 8 towards the end of this tournament, right? Well, the first league stage, rather, of this tournament. You're going to be looking, as we said, during that last match, probably around that 80-point margin, which sits you at 6 2/3 point average if you're doing specific exact math.
Sure.
So if you're looking to get above that, you want to be putting up 7-8 points average, right? To feel a little bit more comfortable when it comes towards those later games, if you're able to keep that up. So over these first 4 matches, you're going to be looking up towards the mid-30s right now to be looking a little bit more healthy. Obviously, 32 points would be really nice, but not too many teams have been able to break that 30-point barrier just yet. However, it is always more dramatic, the curve of the point scoring going over this one. A pretty dramatic circle shift as well coming on through all the way down to the south side here.
I said standard. Well, it's not going to be. We go all the way down low to the south, which for all those rosters who are still up in the air, right, going to their original POI, their landing POI, now have to rotate towards the south, which, of course, you know there's going to be a lot of competition going your way. And so for Hora Alpha 7, maybe going to run into a bit of a scuffle for Team Vision. They've got the longest travel all the way up towards the top side, but that's just the way it goes. It's going to be relatively slow until the very end. But for DRX, another great position inside stage number 1, which could put them in an amazing spot to potentially win 3 out of the 5 games today.
That would be pretty incredible. And the fact that there's 2 chicken dinners and they're not in first place is kind of miraculous. But, you know, that's just how Fourth Thrives like to play it. And Fourth Thrives didn't have a great great game last time around. So DRX certainly have stiff competition, letting themselves down on those non-winning games, right? And when we talk about averages, you really have to look at these lower performing games. And for DRX, that is what is currently dragging them down. They would be miles ahead of the field. Sure. Doing miles for your benefit, of course. You know,
I appreciate your freedom units, baby.
Absolutely. But they would be absolutely streets ahead of everybody else in this lobby if they could bring up those averages. I always give this comparison, right? You can look to earn 12 more points in one match, or you can look to earn 1 more point in 12 matches. And it is if you could do that every single time consistently, that will build up to the same result. Sure, you can look for those 18 elim chicken dinners.
Yes.
Or you can look to put 2 more points on average every single game. And those are the small differences that really start to bring up these averages that can really power you through these tournament stages.
It goes back to that consistency conversation, right? You can have a great flash in the pan game, but if you only have 1 out of the 12 games you're playing in group stage, that's incredible. Yeah, you'll be up 40 plus points, and well, then it starts to dwindle away, and by the time you reach the final game of your group play, now you're in trouble. You've got to go for another Hail Mary attempt, and well, it might not work out, and typically it doesn't, so you'd rather average a better position than, of course, have just a good flash in the pan play. By the way, thank you once again for doing the miles. We were talking kilometers the other day, and I'm trying to think to myself, what's the conversion rate from kilometers to miles to teaspoons? I couldn't tell you because I don't even know the difference between a rock and a ficus, man. I get so lost in the conversation.
It's about 17 millimeters, I think. Somewhere around there. DRX, though, they might have had a central position, but Yangon Galacticos getting aggressive, like Max was saying on the desk, trying to take that from them and immediately taking down one of the South Korean players there, losing and going down to 3. Smiles on the chase as well. He wants more.
He wants more, and he might get it. Shots potentially connecting a bit shaky. It's far out there. I don't blame him, but he at least says, hey, I'm still here. You cannot take any respite. You cannot rest. Keep on going and get out of our location. But the question is, who else is going to be around him? Because this is a pretty tightly contested area. You got YG, you got Reginald. You also have, of course, Weibo, who's going to be just up ahead. Now they're honestly going straight into Falcons, who are going to be just below them, who might be rolling up into them.
Could potentially be, but we'll have to wait and see. They're still a couple hundred meters out. That backstop for DRX is looking to be maybe contested, you're right, but it seems like they've fallen short. Up in towards Chumacero, which is where Weibo and Regnum Kaya currently sit, they are less likely to be pushing further south, right? They're less likely to be moving up into these hills right now. It's a difficult ascent when you know there's teams already in there. It will be difficult if it goes further south, but I imagine they're going to look potentially to split around the sides. Currently just looking to hold a little bit more pressure there. They'll have the high ground in Chumacero, hopefully under control, fingers crossed. But for now, they're just trying to keep the teams moving in from that north side out and force them into these coastal rotations.
Falcons in a great spot. Looking pretty good. They need a decent game. Feel like they've kind of fallen a little bit behind, but still relatively healthy within the top 9. As we look at their position, the question was, would they be able to see DRX? And they can, way off in the distance, but for the meantime, there's no reason to get antsy. For the teams who are down here towards the island, like, they're chilling. There's no reason for them to engage. There's no reason for them to get too crazy, unless you're trying to, of course, overtake one of the hillsides. For DRX even, despite an early loss, losing a teammate, I would still say they're relatively healthy, right? They've got 3 members up. They're still relatively center zone. For them, no reason to get too crazy. Fourth Thrives, though, maybe getting into an engagement with Weibo up top. You got IQ, who's already down and out. The question is, Fourth Thrives, do they challenge once again for the hilltop? No, they do not. They are dipping out.
Alpha 7 are behind this as well, about a kilometer out of this, so could potentially run into this fight if it carries on. But Fourth Thrives, you're right, disengage. They don't want this fight. This is a really good opening for Weibo to maybe look to transition to the hills on the south side. It's difficult when you don't know the timing of the teams approaching you to try and establish. And with Fourth Thrives backing up, they're going to shunt straight on into Yangon Galacticos, who, remember, crashed into DRX earlier on, but they find out just what is waiting for them. They figure it out immediately. They're straight back down the hill.
Straight back down. They see it. They dip away. They're gone. couple of warning shots. Hey, don't come back around our area. We're controlling this hilltop, and Weibo in a power spot for sure, without question. Still very tightly contested. Alpha 7 now starting to get a little bit active coming into where Weibo's at. Of course, a lot of distance still separating them, 100 meters, as I just learned from you just a couple seconds ago. But yeah, for the rest of the rosters moving in, you know, it's still going to get even tightly contested up in the northern side, especially if we have a shift up there. Things could get wild for all the southern teams.
It certainly could. It is going to be the South Chumacera Hills, still the focal point. I'm waiting for this second circle to pop before we go a little bit crazy here, because we do have that potential Partona finish. That Minas del Sur area could potentially be on the cards. It's a little bit unlikely. In fact, I would say bordering on impossible, but it could be the case, right? The second circle shift can be pretty titchy when it comes to the cutout on the area. So we'll see where we end up. We've still got about 20 seconds or so before that one comes on through. And we'll have to see where that drops. Could go over to Los Leones as well, or center up on Chumacera to the north.
Find out very shortly. The arena set up nicely inside of a compound themselves. Team that desperately needs to finish these two Miramars strong. Take a peek at the map as it will be transitioning very shortly. Every team very, very healthy. We do have a shift towards the south, which is going to be great for DRX. Honestly, even better for Alpha 7 as far as I'm concerned. They've got Horror moving in, but for Alpha 7, DRX, some heavy hitters still looking strong in this next stage.
I was interested to see if anyone is going to go down to this south island,
like Falcon,
try and head on through. It looks like they might be taking that option, or they could. I think they're just wrapping around the coast for now. But potentially could branch out.
Alpha 7 down into Carrillo as well.
Carrillo, I mean, they're moving. Yeah, they're moving. They're still just on this coastline, but it could be a crash between the Falcons and Alpha 7 on this coastline. Influence Rage trying to send straight on past. Weibo allow them through here and trying to get more central towards Yangon Galacticos. It looks like Regnum Kaya have a similar idea. Teams are moving fast.
Fast indeed. Question is, when do they run into each other? Eventually, they're going to have to. Influence Rage still has a lot of distance between them and other rosters. It looks like Carrillo has backed away, by the way. I got a little bit worried because if you go back to the last area we casted, Carrillo was isolated by himself from his teammates, and that was really unfortunate. You don't want to see too many teams splitting up as much as they do, and Alpha 7 does have a tendency to do that. Granted, typically they hold their ground, but running into a full-fledged unit of Falcons would have been scary for Carrillo, but they get back together. Here it is, Influence Rage. Magnum Kaya also going to be very, very close to each other, but for the meantime, it looks like everybody is settling down.
Loxy defending this new roll-up position for Regnum Kaya. All four of them in the same spot. They're going to look to start to extend their influence over the compound, establish some sight lines. Silas now repositioning on the vehicle, and it looks like they just want to get on the inside of this warehouse. Holding out these sight lines is going to be good news, but actually breaking out back, that's interesting. They're going to try and put pressure to the teams moving in behind them as everybody's still on this mad dash. Falcons, Alpha 7, still safe from one another for the time being, right next door to each other on the tables as well. We'll see if they can conclude it. AXTMG moving in from the east side slow with Team Secret on their south edge.
Yeah, Team Secret's right next to them. I'm sure this fight is eventually going to conclude as soon as they get closer and closer into the next stage, which therefore opens up a potential for a third party. But for Team Secret, trying to stay as close to the edge they possibly can to avoid any potential shots from AXTMG, which surely are going to be coming through. As far as AXTMG go, where do they really go? I mean, there's not a lot of real estate inside of this next stage. They're going to have to fight, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, they're going to have to either go through Team Secret eventually, or, I don't know, maybe Fireflux, who's just up ahead of them.
There's also the option of holding and playing for the next circle. The bridge that sits between the South Island and the mainland can play around that a little bit. It does force you into isolation. Team Secret, look at what Team Secret are doing right now. On our mini-map, we're looking at Team Secret right now because they've just broken down south side to Partona. You can see that rotation led by Xerus on that south edge. They're looking to try and ruin the day for Falcons potentially here. You do have that bridge approach that you can take further into the circle. It pushes further away and keeps that Via de Mar bridge in the circle as well. Alpha 7 wants more in the center, but this is getting messy now.
Very messy indeed. And Team Secret, all eyes on them because this is such a unique play, something I personally wasn't expecting. And they do have a bit of a piece of the next zone if they do go up towards that left side bridge, as you mentioned, and could be the bridge trolls themselves. We focus in on Influence Rage, who is opposite of E-Arena. and also Falcons, who's been standing up against DRX. DRX taking a couple of shots, but they're going to be just fine, you would have to assume anyways. I'd say that, get out of the car! And unfortunately, Sykes is going to drop down, and another one taking too much damage. Now the question is, does anyone take advantage? Well, Alpha 7's a little bit too far away, so they should be able to recover, but my goodness, could it be any slower?
Falcon's going to try and take some advantage here. Soez rebuffed from the windowsill. Alpha 7 are still taking shots in the roll-up on Navallo. Makes the cross. Koa not so lucky. Navallo goes down as well, and maybe with the hold, the assist coming through from Alpha 7, the Brazilians playing spoiler to the Falcons' approach here. They try and fly on in, but instead they have to divert, head out to the west, but Alpha 7 aren't done. Another volley of fire, and they aren't going to quite connect on this one, but the damage is done.
Oh my goodness. Oh, and actually still taking damage from a distance, and they're going straight into Hora, as Hora is going to be gunning down Falcons. This is surely the end. Only one more player remains, and Falcons, unfortunately, unfurling right before our eyes, the first team to be eliminated. And you know what's kind of spooky about that? That could have very well been Team Secret 2 if they would have stayed right next to Falcons, because they were at one point and going in the same exact direction, the same path, before Team Secret decided to drop south.
Well, let's see if AXTMG can change the tune, because they're doing exactly that. You could see they are now positioned where the Falcons were. They're looking to push maybe towards DRX, depending, or they could just hold in this longhouse, hold in this compound on the edge of the circle, wait for E-Arena to try and make some moves, or Alpha 7, very unlikely that they move out from their spot right now with how central they are. It is only, of course, stage 3, so they are going to be looking to try and hold things down. AXTMG, I think, had the right idea. I don't think Falcons had to move here. I think it was a little bit of a misplay. They felt like they wanted to be more central, and they paid the price for that.
Teams can crash in, they can go center. We've seen it earlier, right, with Influence Rage, who just went straight on past multiple rosters, but sometimes it doesn't work out, and that's the risk you take when you play against Blue Zone. It will tank damage away. Obviously, at this point in the stage, it's not too bad, but I think Falcons could really feel the pressure, and once they started taking damage, and that first initial fight just didn't work out for them, they just went haywire. They weren't thinking things through, and everything went blank, and, well, once they pushed in, they were done. Hora takes them out. It's really unfortunate, because Falcons have played so well today. Still in a great spot, though. Don't get me wrong, top 9. They're going to have to finish strong in the final game. I believe in them.
Power now with 3 players forward, 1 on the backstop, looking to push past Fireflux on the east edge. Another shift out west means that they will have to get a shift on after this circle. But they have to conclude first. Power could potentially divert, but they've got Influence Rage to the south, Regnum Kaya at the front. It is really a cage match right now. Any team could look to try and disengage it, though, on those edge positions, try and get out of the way, but Power, they take a shot, and again, it's not looking good. Easy falls once more.
Just feel like Power is a team that sits too long. They're too indecisive, and that's what's been doing them in. That's why they're currently at dead last in 16th place. Even in this moment, where do you do? I understand it's a tough spot. Influence Rage on one end. On the other, of course, you've got Fireflux, who's going to be gunning you down, but Power didn't have to be here. They could have made a move, as we do have a zone shift. We still have Team Secret, who could take that left-hand bridge, but again, all eyes on Influence Rage, Fireflux, as well as Power. Power, I can't believe they're actually sitting in. They got a knock, and they said, well, it's time to go in and go for it. Take down Influence Rage, and, well, shots are connecting, and Influence Rage will fall. That's 2 down.
Ragnar and Alhaji roll on in.
What?
A rampage as Easy is the only casualty. Esports E-Arena are moving in from the southwest side as well. They want to take a piece of this pie, but it's just Little Boy remaining. If Power can conclude now, they have a chance against this fight.
Let's go,
and E-Arena
Power.
moving in, trying to take this third party, but instead they just turn, they get a little bit more west, and they're trying to play choke on this fight now. They're trying to slow it down, bog them down towards the blue zone, and take these points.
Power, they can go north, though. They can avoid this entire fight if they choose to do so. E-Arena, though, they most likely want to take this, or they could disengage themselves. It's a question of what they want, but for Power to push it on Influence Rage in the fashion they did, good on them. I was talking about their indecisiveness. They finally got active, and it paid off, and look at them. They're still alive, they're repairing, and they're moving up. This is what we need for Power to turn the tides around.
They are still only on 3 points on the match,
I don't
though.
care.
The placements aren't quite there. Carrillo with the roll-up. They've been tracking this fight on the minimap this whole time. AXTMG had tried to do the same thing, right? DRX moved out, who, by the way, are still surviving as a duo, and AXTMG moved in. Alpha 7, same spray down they made onto Falcons, spray down again. They pick up those points, they pick up those elims, and now they're trying to take down the stragglers.
Oh, Weibo on Vision. No off and a lot of damage, taking it anyways. Order Moving through the smoke like a zombie in the night, getting the off angle. He's going to be deadly without question. He also coming up. You got to think Team Vision are about to be put into the absolute blender, but not capitalizing on these downs. Go for it, boys. Take them out. Get the finishes. You got a Team Vision member off to the edge. 33Z sees Volt, but can't get the shots needed. Volt lives for a little bit longer, but you got to think Weibo in this spot, too powerful.
2 players now remaining for Vision in the way. Moving past should be easy for Weibo. They should be able to find these fights, just get these trades. You can't really afford to give too much, though. You're going to have to think about rotating in for the next one. Playing so far to the edge, you need all the mobility you can get. Volt hits the deck, and her can't quite connect the spray down. Has to divert as well. Somehow Never Alone and Volt are surviving this. This is a lot longer than I expected from them.
Yeah,
finally, he's found.
And alone. Fortunately alone, all up to his own devices, up at a distance. Forced to just stay where he's currently at. Volt finally drops, and Vision will finally go down. Weibo wins a critical fight because now they have the dead into the zone and they are all by themselves. Weibo, now one of the favorites in my mind to potentially take this game. Granted, you got a lot of great teams still remaining, but Weibo have been improving each and every game. They've been moving up the leaderboard, and well, I'm thinking they're going to have a solid finish. Now, for 4 Thrives, Alpha 7, maybe cooking up.
Could potentially be a chance for them to move on in.
Oh, the arena too.
The arena from the south side. It is a shift up towards the north edge. Team Secret, by the way, still going. They rotate out to that south side. Has managed to play well. They have all 4 players. They had a player as a backstop, but they can rotate and regroup. Alpha 7 now in for a scrap. South side will need to leave this position, but they need to fight this out first. Mafioso on the top floor has the backup for the players downstairs, and Tiny K can't quite get any retribution here. Now just 2 players alive for the arena. They're not going to take this fight. They know they don't have the time.
They just deliver 2 eliminations to Alpha 7 and say, okay, that's good enough. We're going to go ahead and dip out. For Alpha 7, they'll take that all day, every day. And for E-Arena, well, they're still running into some struggles as, fortunately, Terry is going to fall. 4 Thrives will take them. Now, the question is, for 4 Thrives, do they have the wherewithal to potentially cut off Alpha 7's rotation? That is a possibility.
It is definitely a chance here, but they do need to, again, hold their backstop. I think that they're going to be a little bit more chill with it. Alpha 7 looking to try and push through. They may be trying to backfill and sweep out to the east side. It's a pretty difficult progress no matter where you go, but for Carrillo, he's opening up the bidding, allowing his team to move forwards, dropping some smokes, expending that utility to allow them a bit more mobility here. The circle isn't going to be on them for another couple of seconds, so they've got a little bit of time to play with. You can see they're moving up towards that roadside. They've already cleared out all the teams who tried to backfill on that western edge with AX TMG, with Falcons, all trying to make that rotate. They know there's going to be a little bit of a vacuum there, so they know they can be a little bit more maybe risky with that position, with that angle.
We set up the storyline very early in the day for Team Secret. Going south, a good rotation we saw could have happened if they chose to stay neck and neck with Team Falcons. They would have been eliminated. They are still alive and actually thriving as far as I'm concerned. They've had a wonderful day. We'll see if it can continue to get even better. They are tied currently with Galactico in 3rd place, and they've got all the compounds they need in their current location. Now, Joker, he's been a solo for a long time. Carrillo's had him in his line of sights, and you can tell Alpha 7 gets a little bit spooked because they were trying to push up onto the compound of 4 Thrives. Granted, that would have been a risky push, but what kept them in check was Joker from E-Arena, who continues to be a thorn in the side of Alpha 7.
The nades keep on going through. AXTMG, eat 2, a big nade on the overarm there. And that is nasty to have found those elims earlier on the replay. Alpha 7 doing a lot of work to find the punishment. Over towards the west side, rotate up along that coastal road. Falak with the down shots over towards Mafioso, can't quite connect, only sees the buggy. Needs to be worried about the further tiered up high ground though. He will retreat. Nice and sensible there from Falak.
Yeah, without a doubt, Falak. It's easy, right, at times to get tunnel vision and just continue to fire down and lose your line of sight. Keep your head on a swivel, though. He absolutely does that. For DRX, don't know how this fight even ended up unfolding. It's kind of awkward at the moment, but I tell you what, for the solo of AXTMG, he's giving it to the duo of DRX just up ahead. And well, at this point, right, if you're a solo, you're going for survivability, you're going for any points you can. Basoa says enough is enough. I want to get the finish, but I'm not able to get it, actually. Devo T gets to clean up and somehow, some way, still swimming, still staying alive, and takes down DRX by himself.
He will have the assist of Team Secret. Off on the way there were those off-angle shots coming on through. A huge amount of suppression being delivered over that way. Really does help him out. But finally DRX full, so second place out. He's behind us, Joker. He's behind. He's got the nade. Got the cook. Oh! Too long on the cook there, and now the nade position's given away. He doesn't have another one. He's got a Molotov, but will need the spray downs as Team Secret finally starts to eat lead.
They don't look at him. Joker could take down the entirety of the Alpha 7 roster. It would be so hard to do. But if Joker gets active, if he can push up with Revo down, Joker, like I said, the thorn in the side of Alpha 7. We've been setting it up, but can he get it? He's going to take down one. Now you got to focus on the two. It's going to be over to your right hand side. He's going to reposition. Not a lot of health, but still for Alpha 7. Takes down, I believe, one member. They'll recover, but for Four Thrives, they smell blood in the water, and they're going for it.
The Sharks are out here, but Four Thrives have a hell of a task to achieve there. Felak immediately sprayed down. The UMP keeps them safe. The breakout wide for Four Thrives wants to keep them going, but two players now knocked, and they just can't hurdle the distance here with just Noki left remaining. He's tumbling down the cliffside as Alpha 7 get back to their feet. They lost Revo to that off-angle spray down, and that is a big blow to be dealt, but they've still got some life in them.
Four Thrives, can they stay alive? That's the question. They're already in shambles. Carrillo onto Power, and Power's now out. Alpha 7 is this team that miraculously finds ways to get back into the fight with infinite res, it seems.
They just know how to keep together. They are sticking to it, sticking to their guns. And with 8 elims on this game, Weibo, Regnum Kaya, Nongshim Red Force, the 4-player teams in this one, it feels like they've got a good chance. They are sticking to this edge-style play. I know Seven was talking a lot about how he's expecting them to try and stick to that over the course of this tournament. It looks like it's working out for them here on Miramar.
All right, so Alpha 7 have effectively won the Hilltop. Yes, I can't believe you still got them one solo from AXTMG in the water. I don't know how much of an impact he's going to have, but at least against DRX, he was the Grim Reaper and took them down. Four Thrives currently in first place, but with only a solo remaining, he's most likely not going to be able to do much. So this gives the opportunity for a lot of the teams who are towards the bottom end of the standings now to finish strong and potentially break into top 8.
What they'll be looking for here. On the north side, I'm looking at Weibo trying to get, again, another consistent game, get those points earnings going. Obviously starting the day a little bit weak, but that second place in the last match may be looking to convert into a first place here. On that northern side, they are fairly alone, fairly isolated, as the final player from AXTMG gets spotted, and Mafioso won't let that one go.
Rest in peace, man. He lived a long time, did his absolute best. It was fun watching him do his best. Michael Phelps out there, but tell you what, for DRX, again, taking him out, that's tough. Team Secret still alive, by the way. They haven't done much, which I'm quite surprised with, and they've been now currently gatekeeped by Hora, who I do not believe is going to allow Team Secret to rotate out. So I believe Hora going to take them down relatively shortly. I think Team Secret is going to be out. And Hora then has a pretty good amount of real estate on this left side of the stage.
What? That was from Alpha 7.
Huh?
What? That's the all the way on the other side of the circle there.
Yeah, what the heck?
Towards Weibo. Unlikely that this gets flushed out, but Weibo, they're going to be slowed down by this. The circle has moved away from them, and Alpha 7 are a lot closer to it, so a really big pickup here. The Mini 14 for Mafioso is doing bits.
So you got levels to this, right? You got Team Secret who's being gatekept by Hora. You got that Hora who has, really Alpha 7 has infinite line of sights and is also looking down. For Team Secret, good on them. They actually make an attempt, and No Fear is dropped low, going closer and closer to the edge of zone to try and commit for an off angle. I don't know if this was intentional. Maybe he fell down, but Jaiki wants to take it to him, and, well, No Fear's wisely going to go ahead and back away, but that would have been really awkward. And for Weibo, they're setting up for an off angle themselves.
They found that res. They are back as 4, not taking off angle shots. They want to sweep through, control this roadside. I don't expect them to crash down here. I don't think that they want to. What they want is to pick up the pieces of this fight, find these third-party fights, find those elims, prelims and try and steal them away. Mafioso spotted by Order in the meantime, but they've got a fight in their own town to deal with. No fear, still just going for it with the shotgun, despite being on fire. Will not quite connect on it and will get flushed away. Order getting picked apart in the meantime, but Frankie goes down, leaving one player for Team Secret. Regnum Kaya and Nongshin Red Bulls in the meantime on the east side.
They're also in a fight, and utilities starting to come down from, I believe, somebody else off in the distance. Silas, who has so much to gain and earn from PMWC right before your eyes, taking on the entirety of the world up ahead, but the shots aren't hitting. He's fully exposed, and all it takes for Benny to just swing to the right-hand side to take him down. A nade potentially that open up the door to take down Silas. It's thrown. Swing left, my boy. Take him down. Fully commit to it. Don't let him get the reses, but Alpha 7 up top are going to take everybody out anyways.
He has to stick to this monster truck right now. It's a slow-moving castle for him, right? As it stands, it just keeps rolling. It keeps him safe as Regnum Kaya full before him. Benny now can just chill behind this one. I wonder if Alpha 7 expect there to still be a player behind this monster truck. We'll have to wait and see if they've got that scouting info. But now we're down to 4 teams alive. Benny's still going, and he's going towards the circle.
He actually is. This is incredible. He's happy with this. Continues to squat down. Look, hey, you see it on PMWC, and we've seen already quite a bit climbing towers, using your portable castle, as you called it, right? Going forward into zone. But for Alpha 7, you know they are punishing, and they are looking to punish Benny.
He hopped in, he tapped the brake there into the monster truck, so he's stopped dead. Sook gets spotted. That is a big pickup for Alpha 7 because they're going to need to descend soon, and Weibo had that ridgeline. It would have been broadside if they went for a flat rotate, but they found that opener. The res needs to come through fast for Weibo.
Alpha 7, Weibo, this is it. These are the 2 teams to win it as far as I'm concerned. Whoever wins this engagement are taking it. Benny might have an impact, but we don't know. But for 4 Thrives refusing to go out, even though he's a solo, he is mighty. 4 Thrives fighting till the very end. And, well, with that elimination also gives away his position, but he's fine. I mean, he's alive. Why did Weibo not capitalize?
I mean, they were all going down, right? They tried to cross the road. It felt messy from Weibo. That is unfortunate. Not what we wanted from them. Up the top now, Alpha 7 have 2 solos to deal with. The circle will close dead center on this one. We're into stage 9, into nearly the 29th minute now. But Benny, I just wonder if he's safe from Alpha 7. Not because of his position, but because of the knowledge that they have or don't have.
It's weird for him, right? Because you got 2 solos, and, well, now we're traveling. Look at it, Naki's out. 4 Thrives, he says, man, I got to dip a little bit. But there is still a world Alpha 7 doesn't win this if things get weird. And Benny is holding on tight to what he's got. And does Alpha 7 know Benny has left this monster truck?
This is the thing. I don't think they do. The 2-player crash that they just did felt like they were rolling onto a solo. They'll know it's 2 solos alive. They'll know where Noki is from the gunfight. It felt like Carrillo and Squash thought that he was in that ditch amongst those vehicles. He was not, and now they're confused.
They are, because they're fully focused on 4 Thrives Naki. Benny, they have no idea Benny's here.
Mafioso.
Oh, Carrillo as well looks to be cooking a nade, going straight. No, he throws it over there, but direct Squash ends up throwing a nade over here. The shot's going to ring out, and Benny's going to be exposed. He's going to get taken down. Mafioso finally hits the shots, and now it comes down to a 3v1.
Noki with a chance here for 4 Thrives, but it is a slim one as Alpha 7 look to try and maintain their title towards the top spot. It's a battle for first place, but he's found Mafioso. He's got the flush. Carrillo as well. Noki, no! How can you do it to him? They want that first place, well, you're gonna have to prize it from his cold, dead hands. Squash with a chance now, and he's able to close it down. Finally finds it, but my God, what a run they gave him.
Oh my gosh, and you could see the relief on Squash Boo's face. Squash, the new addition to the Alpha 7 roster, such a heavy burden, such a momentous occasion in the lap. You can see how relieved they are from a guaranteed win to just a matter, just really winning by the skin of their teeth. An unbelievable finish, but for 4 Thrives, I mean, they've got to be happy with that result. Such a tremendous performance, but still for Alpha 7, give them their flowers where flowers are due. That is 2 wins out of the 5 games today, matching DRX's performance.
A brilliant result for Alpha 7 there. They played edge beautifully from the south side. They controlled the rotations of teams like DRX, who are going to be their chicken dinner tied up places, kissing that PMWC logo as well. defending champs, beautiful stuff. They controlled Falcons in that game, they controlled AXTMG in that game, and they control 10 placement points onto the tables. We're going to take a quick break. We'll be back with the desk very shortly to set up for the final game today.
Dear PUBG Mobile fans, we are delighted to